live for one other Shaney's Paranormal. Do you believe? And today I've got some amazing people on the panel. Always wait a few seconds for people to show up.
Guys.
Oh, I got to shut myself up. It's a hard thing for me to do. You guys want to introduce yourselves as a band?
As a band? I mean, I can. I don't know
as a band. So here's what I said last time I introduced. I said I got Kermit is on. We got a band here. We got Kermit the Frog. He does the cowbell. We got DBS on the strings. Mary Mayhem down below. She's. What do you got? The drums.
I suppose I could do. I don't know how to play drums, but I could be a vocalist if you want. I don't know.
Oh, the vocal. Okay, I usually do vocals, but I'll be the backup
vocal. Backup vocals. Shoe up.
We're a doo-wop gang today.
I can do drums if you
want. Sorry, Miss.
What?
What did you want to be, Miss?
An audience member.
All right. All right. We already got Stig. Stig said he was going to show up. Hey, Stig. Thanks for coming. Black Hat Cinephile. You never let us down. He's always here, and we're gonna a whole
frog person.
All right, guys. So Ben is still not here, but that's fine. We'll continue without him.
Is Ben even real?
Yeah, I don't know.
Discuss that.
He may or may not be real. So guys. So what I do with this like I did last time before, this is kind of a new thing that I'm trying out. Kermit, can't hear you.
Yeah. What's up?
Oh, okay. Were you away this whole time?
No, I've been here the whole time.
Oh, okay. So I can't tell if you're there. You guys stay quiet and I won't know. So, all right, guys. So what we're starting here, we're gonna start with the topic, right? The topic today is gonna be Bigfoot for the beginning, right? Where we're going to discuss cryptids in general, where it could lead into Dogman, Bigfoot, like Chupacabra, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But before we do that, though, we're gonna tell some stories, and we got some people who have some amazing stories, and we're gonna start with Mary. Mary,
yeah.
Would you like to set us off on one of your paranormal adventures?
So I never had an encounter with Bigfoot or anything like that, but I'm happy to acknowledge that there's some weird stuff that takes place out there because I've experienced some weird things myself, and I do have a handful of stories, all of which I have corroborating witnesses on. They're not here right now, obviously, but my sister, who can corroborate this one, she's clearly in bed at midnight. But yes, so this is, I would actually say this is probably the least creepy of the stories that I could tell, but it's still bizarre, still very bizarre. So when I was a little girl, I shared a room with my sister. We were very poor, but my granny, who was rather well-to-do, she tended to buy us and give us gifts and things that we had no desire or want for. And she had given us a series of art to put on the wall. And so it was about 5 in total that were on the wall. 4 of them were a set, little girls in gardens. One of them had like a jump rope, and one of them had like a picnic basket, and just different things that they were doing in a sort of garden setting. And then one of them was rather large, actually, and it was called Attic Treasures. And so to just kind of give you an idea of what this painting looked like, there was like a big old cedar chest set in the corner. And, the woodwork on it, it gave the impression that there were some eyes, and then the latch looked like a nose, and then the crease where it opened looked like a mouth. And then there were other various things, and there was an old oil lamp, and there was a little girl, or not a girl, but a little doll that had a dress, a pink dress. I believe it was a pink satin looking dress. There was a paper doll as well, as there was a teddy bear also in the painting, and just other sort of a little collection of things you might find in your attic, right? Mm-hmm. I never liked that painting. I never liked it because it had a tendency to make me uncomfortable. Now, to be fair, I have an active imagination. I've always had an active imagination. And as a little girl, that was probably more prominent just because, your kids tend to let their imaginations run away with them. So I had a tendency to go to bed at night and be distracted by this painting. And it was always sitting right above the nightlight, which illuminated it from below. And at night, I would see this painting do things that scared me. Things that I did not, I knew that they were malevolent in nature. I knew that it meant me harm, I suppose, is what I
Do you
mean.
think like it was possessed?
I don't know. I don't know, but we'll get there. We'll come back.
Sure.
So at night, the painting would do things. The cedar chest would begin to sort of blink at me, and then it would open its mouth. And from across the painting, you would begin to see the teddy bear scramble as though it were being sucked into the cedar chest, like clawing and holding on for dear life. And then it would get sucked in and it would slam closed on the teddy bear. And it was as if you could see it inside, begging to come out. It was quite uncomfortable. Some of this is it wasn't graphic per se, but it insinuated something graphic. The paper doll would stand up, and underneath of the clothes that she would put on, the little tabs that would close around her, she had bloomers. And so she would
bloomers. What's bloomers? Sorry,
sort of pantaloons, an undershirt, like a camisole. So she wasn't undressed, but she was undressed, as it were. And so she would take off her overclothes and she would walk around in her underclothes. And that insinuated something that I knew to be indecent. And then the scariest thing of all was the doll, the large doll in the satin pink dress. Her mouth would open and close very mechanically, almost like, have you ever seen South Park, the Canadian ones? Their mouths open and close very sort of, their head almost. Yes. So in that kind of fashion, the mouth would open and close. No enunciation. Very creepy. But what was worse was that there was a ribbon that would come from her mouth. And on the ribbon were letters that would make words. Now, this started when I was so little that I couldn't read the words, but she would turn her head towards me and her eyes would narrow. And as the words would come out of her mouth, you could tell that they were distinct words. There were gaps between each word. And as I got older and I began to be able to read these words that were sort of floating from her mouth, I began to understand that they said things that were intimidating, things that were meant in a threatening manner. I will murder you, death, and she was threatening me.
That's disconcerting for sure. Wow.
And I would be terrified, and I would pull up the blanket over my head, and I would lay there and I would cry, and I would just beg for relief from this thing. And as I grew older, and I got old enough to preach up there, I began to hide the painting. I would put it places. I would put it behind the washing machine or behind the refrigerator, anywhere that I could, to just try to get this thing to go away. And inevitably, it always wound up back on the wall by the end of the day. And so I had assumed, of course, that my mother was just putting it back on the wall. And I never said anything about it because I hadn't wanted to get in trouble. So I simply left it be and make attempts every now and again to try again to just get it off the wall. I wanted it gone. This went on for years and years. As I grew older into my preteens, it slowed down a bit. And then by the time I was 14, it had slowed to the kind of pace where I don't think I had seen it in probably maybe a year or two at that point, maybe a year and a half or something like that. It had been a long time, but I still hated the thing. Still really hated it. And my sister was 18 at this point, and she was moving out. And so she was there in the room, and she was packing up her things. And I thought to myself, well, this might be an opportunity. And so I said, hey, that painting, Attic Treasures, you could take that with you if you wanted. I wouldn't mind if you had it. And she stopped. And now my sister is one of the most rigid and straight-laced people you've ever met in your life. She doesn't play around with nonsense. She has no time for it. She's very practical.
Mhm.
She has no, well, I'm sure she loves me, but we don't get along very well. And she has no time for my shenanigans, if you will. She thinks I'm a bit of a character and never time with her life.
Yeah.
So when I asked her this, the response that I got from her was interesting because I hadn't expected it. She looked at me and she looked at the painting and she said, "I don't like that thing." And I knew immediately. I knew. And I looked at her and I said, "Why?" And she, of course, did the thing that she always does. She gets very rigid. "I just don't like it." And I said, "Tell me why." And she stopped. And it was as though she had realized that I knew. And she said, "You don't like it either?" I said, "No." She goes, "Oh." And I said, "Tell me why." And so she looked, it looked as though it pained her to admit this. But she said, "When we were little, it used to talk to me." And I said, we began to go over the things. I looked at her reassuringly and I said, "And the paper doll," she said, "it was indecent." And the bear, and it sucked it into the cedar chest. And we knew that this threatening thing was there and that it was real and that we had shared this experience for years without ever knowing it. And so we decided there after sort of this weird bonding moment that this needed to go. It needed to go. And so we went to our mother and we said, "The painting in the room, the attic treasures, we want it gone." And we began to explain to her, look, because she had apparently also been taking it off the wall.
Mhm.
Look,
Did
we
you
know
guys ever figure out where this painting came from? Is there like a history behind it?
my granny. No, I don't know where exactly she got it. I was little. It was a gift from Granny. So we went to my mother and we were like, "This painting needs to go. Look, we realize you like it, you're fond of it, but we understand why you kept putting it back on the wall, Granny, right?" She was like, "What are you talking about? I didn't put that painting back on the wall. I never knew it was taken off the wall." For years, she and I had been trying to get rid of this painting, hide it, make it go away somewhere else. And we'd always assumed that my mother had been putting it back on the wall, but she hadn't. It simply wound back up there every single time. By no means that we know of to this day. So we burned it.
Oh, you burned it.
We burned it.
And anything ever since?
Nope, it's gone.
Interesting. And you said that started about what time, what age again? You said it started?
I was very little. I would say I was around 4 or 5 when I have my first impressions of really remembering. I wasn't old enough to read yet, and I believe I started reading by the time I was about 5 or 6. So, yeah.
Oh, I haven't heard that one. That's a story I haven't heard.
Do what?
That's a story I haven't heard before of a painting. I mean, we used to have in our house, we used to have, those sewing dummies, or not sewing, those hairstyling head dummies, the ones that they used to have, Barbie used to have that.
Like
head.
to practice haircuts and
yeah. Like, well, my family used to have one. Like, Mom, she had one of those in her house in the bedroom, and that shit, I would swear, would be blinking at me and doing all kinds in the middle of the night. Nothing perverted, just scaring the crap out of me. So I know what you mean, like those kind of weird. But it's weird. You didn't even try to find out like the artist who the artist was?
No. I think we were so sort of in tune at that moment that it had to go. My sister and I, and my granny died when I was 8. So I can't imagine how on earth we would have even tracked something like that down. But no, we just took it out to the burn barrel and burned it, and it was that was the end of it. We burned the entire thing. Incidentally, we didn't even save the frame. We burned the entire thing.
Too bad. I would have liked to have known where it came from.
Did you put any lighter fluid on it, or just straight burned it like that? Like, Just
My
prior
sister
to
set
it.
up the fire. My sister set up the fire, so I don't know exactly what else she did to it.
Or you just like tossed it onto a fire already.
No. It was, we burnt that specifically. We didn't already have a fire going. We went out to the burn barrel. I know it was broken down before she burnt it because it wouldn't fit in the barrel otherwise. But as far as lighter fluid, I don't know if she used any on it. I'm sure she used some form of accelerant, but I couldn't tell you what. But yeah, it was broken down, and she was the one who was in charge of it, and yeah, it was. But it
Well,
never.
thank God you guys burned it. That way nobody else has to.
Yeah, no, the thing's gone. Gone.
Have you heard of the phenomenon
break
of
the
poltergeist?
cycle. Sorry.
No, go on.
No,
Have you heard of the phenomenon with the poltergeist, like where they say like those poltergeists tend to be a manifestation of a person's, what do you call it? Like especially teenagers, when they reach puberty, they tend to have like a sort of a almost like your unconscious mind manifests itself and attacks itself without knowing.
I honestly don't know much about the whole. It's not something I'm particularly into, as it were. I just happen to have had some experiences, and I can't deny them. So, but I've never gone searching for answers. I've just sort of been happy to leave them where they are.
Yeah.
It'd be good for like a horror film or something if you're like walking into some art shop and you see the painting there.
No, I never want to see that thing again. No.
Let me just before we start, let me just do some of the chat here and just acknowledge some of the people that are here. So I've got obviously Stig Kenobi. I got Michael Stark. Thank you for coming. He loves this stuff. Lance Uppercut. Mads Mama Bear, other Canadian of mine. Biden Touch. Crazy Eyed Jedi. Who else is here? Biden Touch. That's funny. And Wookiee Supremacy. So just make sure that people know we appreciate you for being here, guys. Thank you very much. So what was your other story, Mary?
Well, I suppose I'll do the one where my grandfather's wife died. I don't know. Miss, what do you think? That one or the one from camp? I don't know.
I mean, either would work.
The one where my grandmother, she wasn't my grandmother, she was my grandfather's wife, died. I think scared me more because because it had something to do with me. I don't consider myself clairvoyant per se. I was told by my father, this is something interesting. I'm not deep into the lore of it, but my father said I was born with a veil. I don't know if any of you know what that means.
Is it similar to having the shine?
The cowl, the sack breaks, but it's still on you, and it was on my.
All right, I'm going to look that up. Let's see the exact definition.
So
continue. Sorry.
Well, the way he explained it to me was that it had something to do with clairvoyance, that it would mean that you would be able to see or understand some things sometimes. Now, I don't see future. I don't have like some ton of visions or anything like that, but I have one experience I can't explain and I don't understand. But I know it happened, and I know that she's dead. And I can't change that. So
basically, sorry, I'm just gonna before you do that. So the veil, according to what I read, is a plane of existence between. So you have access to a plane of existence between our world and the ghost world. That's what I read. So there you go.
Well, that's just if you look up veil, that's just what's going to come up on Google. She doesn't really mean that specifically.
I think he said it was a veil or a cowl or something like that. I can't explain it because I don't understand it enough myself.
Basically, I think when you were born, you had part of the what is it? It's like the uterus or whatever.
Sac, yeah, the sac that you're in.
You had that over your face or on your head, and that's a sign of being clairvoyant.
Yes.
Okay.
is what she means.
So she was born force sensitive.
Force sensitive. I don't know. I all I know is what my father told me, and he was the one catching me. So, because the doctor was not in the room at the time. So, yeah. Anyway, so my father or my grandfather, as I said, both of my grandmothers died within 6 months of each other when I was 8 years old, and so that was very hard on the family. And my grandfather didn't remarry for many years until I was about, I want to say 13 or 14, something like that. It was, I know that Minnie was around for a couple of years. And when he married Minnie, she was a very sweet lady. She was very grandmotherly. It's not that I disliked her. I just, she wasn't my grandmother. And so I think she would have liked to have been our grandmother in our eyes, but she wasn't. But I was kind to her. I was more kind to her than my brother or my sister were, because I still thought that she was a nice person. My sister was a bit bitter towards her. My brother was a bit indifferent, and I tended to be kinder to her. And so in keeping with that, she was more friendly towards me, I suppose. I did think she was a nice person. And she had cancer prior to marrying my grandfather. It was in remission. We assumed she was clear. And I tell you that because it matters. So she was in the family, and she was a very nice lady. And she lived in Henderson, Kentucky. Or not Henderson. She lived in Brandenburg, Kentucky, with my grandfather. And I had around 15 or so taken clown college classes, and had become a certified Maranatha clown. And in order to keep up with that obligation at my church, we bought clown makeup whenever the Halloween store came into town. So the Halloween store was in town. This was on September 10th when I was 16 years old. And it was right before September 11th. September 11th happened the next day. And we went to the store. We went to the Halloween store, and my mother put her foot down. You're not going inside. I don't want you running around asking for Halloween costumes and everything like that. I'm going in to get the Mayron makeup, and you're going to stay in the car, and that's that. My brother was in the back seat of the van, or the middle seat of the van, playing a Game Boy, and I was sitting in the front seat in the passenger side. And we were sitting there, and we were studying. I'm sorry? Oh, I thought you said something. I'm sorry. I thought Kermit said something. So we're sitting there, and my mother goes into the store, and we're waiting. And in the window of the display window of the store, there was a Grim.
I think there's some feedback, Kermit.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's feedback. That's why I thought he was talking to me. So there was a Grim Reaper display in the store window, and I was interested in it, sort of looking at it, trying to sort it out, and then it moves. And the head. Okay. Kermit, honey, you're feeding back.
I'm not even saying anything. I don't have. I don't think it's me.
Maybe it's Ben, because Ben just joined in. So.
No, it's
definitely Kermit. He's the one that keeps glowing and getting bigger whenever the feedback happens. So it's definitely Kermit. I don't know if it would help you to mute your mic or something, honey.
I don't know. I'm not used to. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
His thing turned off. Okay, let's continue. Oh, by the way, guys, Ben just joined us. I don't know what happened. Ben.
Forgive me. Don't let me interrupt anything. Please continue.
No, we thought the aliens got you, man.
They did, just momentarily, just briefly, just for a minute.
Let's they let you go. All right, sorry. Continue, Mary. I didn't mean to disturb.
Oh no! And I'm so sorry. I wasn't trying to Kermit leave. I just anyway.
No. I think it just he'll be back.
All right. So I was looking at the display in the window, and the Grim Reaper costume moved, and it moved in a very uncomfortable way. So the head that had been sort of tilted slightly down jolted up, and then the shoulders rolled forward. And I knew as I was watching this happen that it wasn't really happening. I'm not crazy. I knew that this was in my head. I knew that. but I also knew that it was happening, if that makes any sense. I knew that it was a vision. I knew that there was no way this thing was actually moving in front of me. But it rolled its shoulders forward, and now it was floating freely and with nothing to support it. And one of the arms that had been held up by a peg proceeded to move outward and point in the general direction of the town that I expressed my grandfather and Minnie lived in. And it didn't move its lips. I didn't hear it say this. It simply conveyed it to me. And I don't know how to explain that any better, but it simply conveyed to me what it had to say, which was.
So it's like you got a sense of it, like it's like sort of like a ESP sort of sense kind of thing.
They were words, but they weren't audible. And I don't know how to make that make any more sense. It definitely communicated. It just didn't do so audibly, and it was very specific. At least in terms of what it did say. It said, "Tonight she is mine." And I knew who it meant. I knew that it meant Minnie. And then it flew through the window and it was gone. And I started to panic because I knew that Minnie was going to die. And so my mother got back in the car and I was like, Mom, we have to call Minnie. We have to check on Minnie. We have to get her to the hospital. She's going to die. And my mother has no time for that nonsense. She was very frustrated with me. She was busy and she didn't have time for my overactive imagination, out in the yard, digging holes, looking for buried treasure. You're a crazy child. Stop it. And so no one would listen to me. And I begged for hours. Someone, please, we have to check on her. She's going to die. And then my mother sent me to bed early, uncharacteristically early. I think it was 9 or something. My father wasn't due home till 10, and I'm 16. This is ridiculous. I mean, I know why she did it. She did it because I intended to tell my father, who I knew would listen to me. And so I was in my room waiting because I knew when he got home, he would listen. And so when he came in the door and I heard him, I got up and I marched out of my room and I said, Dad, Minnie is going to die. You have to check on her. And he, of course, my mother's angry. She's livid. Go back to bed. I told you not to do this mess. I told you to go to your room. And my dad is now trying to balance between keeping my mother calm and keeping me calm and trying to figure out what the heck I'm telling him and not upset my mother anymore because now she's not being listened to and she's the mama. And so he's like, okay, all right, everybody, first of all, you should be in bed, but tell me what's going on. And I said, Minnie is going to die. And he said, well, why do you think that? And I explained to him, what I saw. And he smiles at me and he's like, all right, well, look, I want you to go to bed. I'll check on her. And he promised me. And I took him at that word because I knew that he would. And then I was returned to my room by my mother, who walked me halfway down the hallway, get to bed. She was livid with me. And so at that point, I think it was much later. I went to bed. And then I was woken up in the very early hours of the morning, 2 or 3 in the morning, something like that. And my father came in and he turned on the light and he shook me. And he said, Mary, get up. And I sat up and I knew. And I said, she's dead, isn't she? And he asked me, to tell him again. And so by this point, the whole house is up. And so we're all there in the living room trying to sort this out. And I explained, and now I was angry because this could have been stopped. Maybe, someone could have done something. And I looked at my mother and I said, the Grim Reaper in the window. Because I knew it was there, even though I knew that it hadn't done the things I'd seen it do. It was there. I was sure of that. And so I was expressing the Grim Reaper display. That came to life. It was telling me what was going to happen.
Yeah.
My mother expressed to me that it was not in fact there, that she didn't know what I was talking about. And I turned to my brother, the display, you saw it. And he was like, no, there was no Grim Reaper display. It was never there at all.
Well, something like that actually happened to me, to be honest with you. That when my mom passed away, I had a lot of weird stuff right before it happened that was like signaling, telling me to prepare. There was actually signs literally telling me, be prepared. And then that right beside the cemetery. And then that day, my mom, went to the hospital and she never came out. There was so many, when you actually pay attention, it's like there's these, it's like, I don't know what it is, but it's like something wants to prepare you for these weird things. I mean, whether it causes it or not, I don't know, but there's definitely something there that tries to prepare. I mean, that's, and I've had other stories like that as well, like those little things that happen.
Well, look, I wasn't paying attention. This thing didn't give me a choice. I wasn't. I'm happy to admit that I have an overactive imagination, or certainly at least did it as a child. But she's dead.
Yeah.
And everyone in the house knew about this hours and hours and hours before it happened. And now my brother is obviously not here right now. He's at work. He can't corroborate this, but Miss has heard him corroborate it.
Yes, I have.
No, I'm not. I wasn't doubting it. I mean, everybody has things. I'm just saying, like, it's weird with life and death, though. It's just like there's so many different experiences of, like, when my grandmother passed away, I was touched in the shoulder by something, woke me up. I didn't see nothing. There was nothing around me, and then I went back to sleep. And then my brother came and shook me and said, our grandmother passed away, and he was bawling. I'm like, it was just weird. You know what I mean? Like, it's weird things that just happen. I'm not comparing my story to yours. It's just, weird when life and death happens, almost like as if something's there to guide you through that, in a weird way. I don't know.
Perhaps. I can't explain it. I don't, and I honestly don't have any interest in trying to. I just know it happened, and I can't make it not exist. So that's what it is, and it's there. And
but have you had anything since, like any like right now? Or is that just like now that you're an adult? Do you have?
So the last thing I had happened, but nothing happened. All I know is that it scared me. I was meant to go out one night with my friend Shelly. I took over to a friend's house, and we were going to get into our cars, and I went to get into the car, and I had a feeling wash over me, and a sort of moment where I saw myself die. And I was going around a curve in my car, and I didn't take it well, and then I went right off the edge and died. And it scared me so bad that I didn't go. And so I'm happy to not know the other end of that scenario. But yeah. I don't know. All I know is that I don't know. It could have been I could have just been being paranoid. I don't know. All I know is that it flashed through my mind, and I saw a scenario, and it scared me, and I declined to engage such scenario. And so,
please forgive me. Did you say that you actually dreamed that you died? Is that what happened?
No, I wasn't dreaming. I was.
Oh, okay. It was something that you just literally kind of saw as a thought process.
It flashed through my mind.
Interesting.
The area of road curved, and now I will say that I'd never been down in that area before, and I did later go there, and it seemed as though I went through an area that was very reminiscent of that, I guess, vision, for lack of a better term, but I'd never seen it before that moment where I saw it in my mind, and it did seem like it was very similar, if not exact, to the thing that I saw in my mind. Now, the scenarios were different. It was night when I had I hate saying it because it feels grody, but vision, and I went through it during the day.
But you said you saw yourself like almost experienced death. Has anybody else here like almost experienced death in their dreams? Or
I got killed in my dreams.
You really?
Yeah, I died. They say you can't die in your dreams. I died in my dreams.
That's a lie. I've seen myself die in dreams.
Yeah,
that's
shot in the
amazing.
chest. I felt
what? Go ahead. What?
I got shot in the chest in my dream. I was like, it was a weird bar.
Dude.
And it was just some weird thing. And some random guy pulls. Actually, it was not a random guy. It was my uncle. He pulls out a gun out of nowhere, shoots me right in the chest. It was like, for whatever reason, I felt the pain. The whole world went white. And I felt myself fading. And I kept asking myself, am I dying? Am I dead? Am I dead? And this felt completely real, by the way, right? And when you're in this kind of mode, you feel like this is real. This is like reality. You're not dreaming. You feel that way. And I was like, this is what death feels like. I can't believe I'm dying. Like just everything was white, like it's a clean sheet. I'm in the middle of a room with just a clean sheet and nothing around me. And then everything just started fading. And I kept saying to myself, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. I just boom, I pulled myself up. And that was just I sort of had like for the long time, just like. Yeah. And I felt the pain in my chest even after I woke up. Like I felt it for like a good couple of minutes. It's weird, man. I don't know.
I've had dreams where I'm drowning.
Yeah.
But then I realized that it's because of my sleep apnea. Like I'm not breathing when I'm sleeping. So it means like, okay, turn up the CPAP machine just a little higher. And I've had dreams where I've been shot. And I'm in a shootout and they're shooting everybody and I get shot, but I wake up usually when I get shot. Like
when you get shot,
I wake up with a jolt. Like I jolt. Like oh shit.
Yeah.
But I think that is because I live in Los Angeles. It's kind of a bad spot, bad place.
I live in Toronto. There's no guns. No one shoots anybody here, and I still got shot. It doesn't matter where you live. You can get shot in your dream. How about you, Miss? Any?
I've never died in a dream. Well, no, I've never seen myself die in a dream. I've always assumed I died. I wake up before it usually happens. I went outside in a dream where there was an attack dog outside, and everything went white, and then I woke up.
Wow.
So you had that white thing too, which is weird that we both had that same white thing.
Yeah, I had I've had drowning dreams, but they were continuous. They were for long periods of time. I was breathing, but it was as if I was breathing through a straw, and it was just enough that I wasn't dead, but it was painful and unending. Yeah. I had several of those when I was a teenager. They scared the shit out of me.
Ben, anything?
I rarely remember my dreams. I have a weird few dreams that I remember that were like that. But probably the closest thing that I had to that was one of my close friends turning into a murderer.
What?
In the dream. In the dream. This was it's like the closest thing that I could have to what you guys are talking about, because it's very possible. It's like apparently we're supposed to be dreaming the entire time we're asleep, right? That's right. But from the second you hit REM, you're supposed to be dreaming. So you only remember a tiny bit of your dream. So it's like the people who write their dreams down, they remember more, etc. Then you're able to conquer your world. Apparently, I heard about people being able to conquer their dream world and all that stuff. But yeah, as far as closest thing to what you guys are talking about, one of my good friends became a murderer in the dream, and it felt so real. It felt like I was like worried about him. I'm like, and he ended up killing somebody that we knew. And it was just it was a very bizarre dream because it felt so real.
Why the hell do we dream? I still don't understand why we dream. I don't get the whole reason for dreaming. I've heard people talk about the necessity, but I don't even understand why we sleep.
I'm not sure they know.
If you don't sleep, the longest I think anyone's gone without sleep is like over, I think 36 or 48 hours, and you go insane.
Yeah.
Sleep.
Yeah, but why?
Hallucinating.
But why? I know that, but why? That's the question I don't understand. Why does our mind have to disconnect from reality and go into some magical weird land?
Yeah, you know that is funny. That is really funny.
Just shut down and not.
I think it probably has something to do with storing memory and long term, because I know that it does affect your memory when you don't sleep well or you don't sleep often. So it probably has something to do with simply processing your day's events, and your brains they're just computers, right? But they only have so much capacity, and so there's only so much that they can take in before they need to sort of sort through it all.
But it's not sleeping. Your brain. They've actually proven that people have actually experienced more stress, and I'm one of those because I've gone to sleep clinics my whole life. I never sleep. And I've been in and out of sleep clinics. They've tied me up to everything. They found that my brain is more active when I'm asleep.
I'm not saying your brain isn't working. Your brain is clearly still working. It's now on a different task. It's like when your computer gets a bunch of updates and you have to restart it for a lot of them to take effect, right? I think because the computer's still working stuff, right? It's still putting those updates into place, and then it just needs a bit of a restart. It's only down for a second, and then it's got all these things in place. But those updates, they take time and they take memory, and so your brain just needs. And look, I'm not an expert on this. I'm just saying it's what makes sense to me, and I do believe that there is some. I've certainly read some things that lend themselves to this theory. So,
well, I mean, where I'm trying to go with this is this: like, I think that there is a necessity for us to dream, but I don't think it's psychological. I don't think it has to do with a biological body. I feel like it's our consciousness that actually needs to sleep. And what I mean by that is I do believe in that veil thing, that our consciousness is actually doesn't really reside in this body. I think in some way that our consciousness is sort of using the body as a vehicle, and that when the consciousness is exhausted, not the body. See, the body, you should just be able to meditate, close your eyes, and just allow your body to rest. But the fact that your brain has to disconnect somehow, go into some alternate reality, and you ever notice how sometimes you have a 15-minute rest and it sometimes is better than a 2-hour rest or 3 or 4 hour? It's just weird.
They call that a power nap.
Yeah. It's
do not work for me. I'm gone.
Yeah, it's funny how that does work for only certain people or certain, situations or certain
NPC theory.
Yeah.
Anybody, any other stories, Miss, before we head to the Bigfoot topic?
Anyone ever had sleep paralysis?
Oh, that's a great topic. I love that. Have you had that?
I've had it about 6-7 times.
Oh, I have to hear those. This is one of my favorite stories. I love.
Can you explain to me what that is? What's sleep paralysis?
Basically, scientifically explained is your body, when you go to sleep, your brain lets out some kind of hormone or chemical so that you don't move while you're sleeping. And sleep paralysis.
This is something that happens often with just you, or is it something that just happens sometimes?
A lot of people. I don't recommend looking it up because after I watched a documentary on it, I got sleep paralysis.
It's contagious.
No. It's absolutely true. It's actually a bizarre thing, and I looked into this as well. So it's bizarre. You find that if you start to think on these things, it can actually happen. It's a really bizarre. Now, it's never happened to me. I can't. Thank God, but I've read that it actually does. The more that you think about it, the more that you dwell on it, the more likely it is to happen to you. If you already have sleep paralysis, that the more you talk about it or think about it, the more likely it is that you're bound to experience it.
Have you ever seen The Old Hag?
I have not seen The Old Hag. I felt a presence near me. I have seen a body. I wouldn't describe it as an old hag. I felt a presence near me in the room. But back to explain what sleep paralysis is, it's just your brain wakes up, but your body doesn't.
Okay. So that's funny. So your eyes are open.
Your eyes are open, but you cannot move.
Yeah, I've actually experienced that one time in the ER. That's another thing, but yeah. I've experienced that before.
It is freaking scary. And I've had it where I convince myself that I'm getting up and I'm moving, but then I realize I'm not. I'm still laying on my bed, and I zoom right back into my body, and I'm still laying on my couch. And it's so frustrating not being able to move, and you feel so trapped. And because I think it has a part to play with my own claustrophobia, but I'm like screaming sometimes in those experiences for someone to wake me up, to wake up, because they are terrifying. It's a
Well, the
terrifying.
doctor that when I experienced it, and then of course our situations are completely different, but the doctor said to me it was completely psychological. Like you literally, your nerves are being swayed in such a way that you believe that you're feeling this, but you're actually not. You're actually, and so that's, because there's no physical evidence to you being actually paralyzed.
I was very aware I was asleep. I was very aware that I was asleep.
Interesting. Yeah.
And I tried to force myself awake, and I couldn't. I tried. It felt like hours. I felt like I was laying there for hours trying to convince myself to wake up, and I couldn't. And
a friend of mine used to have that all the time, and she told me that one day, I can't corroborate her story, but she just told this to me, so I'm not gonna. She's not a liar. Never known her to be a liar. She said that she had sleep paralysis regularly. One day, she tried to force herself up, and she pulled herself and she said she finally pulled herself up, like out of bed. Then she turned back and she noticed she was still in bed, and then she shot back in.
Yep, that's what I was doing when I would get up and I would leave my room, and then I realize I haven't moved, and I'd shoot right back into my body.
That's crazy.
That is very crazy.
Have you guys ever seen the movie Living in Oblivion?
No.
I don't want to I'm not going to derail, I promise. It's just, if you ever get a chance, watch the movie. The entire film is a series of dreams where the people wake up, and it's different perspective from a different person. And Steve Buscemi, when he used to do indie flicks, and it's like, it's an amazing film about just all these people getting up and they're experiencing these weird things that happen, but it's just a series of dreams, and it's just, and anyway, Living in Oblivion, pretty fun movie.
Well, it was like Inception.
Yeah, same type of
in a dream.
It's much more of a comedy than Inception, but anyway.
No, but how about DBS? Have you had anything like that?
No, I have never experienced that, and thank God, because I wake up in the middle of the night and I have to go and pee. And my wife, if I peed in bed, my wife would kick my ass. So thank God, no, I haven't had that. That sounds terrible. I wouldn't want to wish it on anybody.
It's definitely scary. I don't recommend looking into it or thinking about it too much.
Well, the reason I mentioned the old hag is because there's an old story that goes along with this, that a lot of people over the years have claimed to have seen an old troll-like hag, woman, or creature sitting on their chest as they have sleep paralysis.
They made a movie about the old hag, specifically a movie about sleep paralysis and the old hag. I can't remember what it's called, but there are other things people see, basically black silhouettes. A lot of people report seeing a man in a hat. There's a silhouette man in a hat. There's many people saying they've seen the same thing over just a range of people. And this was in the documentary that I watched. Really, really interesting. Some people.
What's the consistency for them seeing these things? When do they see this man in the hat?
It's when they're in their sleep paralysis mode. They say they see them.
So it's specifically coupled with sleep paralysis.
Specifically with sleep paralysis, yes. It's interesting that it's shared across a lot of people see the same thing.
That is interesting. Sorry.
I have not seen this. I've not seen the silhouette people. I've felt presence around me. I've seen a person who looked like my grandmother, but it wasn't like an old hag. It wasn't creepy, and she was a little bit huge, like she was a giant in my perspective when I saw her. So it was a little bit creepy.
Like the old hag in Shining, right? Just kidding.
Well, a lot of UFO abduction cases have been attributed to
yes, there's
to the paralysis phenomenon. But yeah, no, this one of those things. Have you ever seen Night Terrors? That one's crazy.
Just real quick, Michael Stark says Hat Man. He named the character the Hat Man. So anyway,
yeah, there's a phenomenon that a lot of people see.
Oh, okay.
That's a lot of people have claimed, and not just asleep. That's one of those things. That's one of those very common ghosts that people see.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a night terror. There was a documentary I saw about night terrors. Ever heard about that phenomenon where people just wake up and they're like in some crazy possessed, like their eyes start doing this craziness. They don't know. They're not even conscious. They're like sleepwalking. It's really they're just sleepwalking, but they rage sleepwalk and they just start punching like they're physically abusive and they don't remember doing anything.
Yeah,
Like
I've heard that phenomenon where it was in my law class. We actually talked about this because there were people who would try to claim that they were going through this sleepwalking thing when they'd commit crimes. Like this guy raped his girlfriend's friend and said he did it while he was sleepwalking and didn't remember it at all.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
there was no way to prove it. There was no way to prove whether or not he was sleepwalking at the time.
My cousin had that, and my family, they used to have to lock the doors because he would physically punch out. And when he's awake, he's the most timid human being. Like he's completely like, yes, no, maybe, please. He once jumped out of a window, like his bedroom window, just slammed it. He doesn't remember doing any. He's punched out his mother. He beat the crap out of her. And she had to lock the door. They had to, he doesn't remember doing any of that. And he's the most docile, person ever. And it's just weird how that, I don't even understand. Like, that's just creepy. And just how his personality is just night and day. You wouldn't expect that kid to be even capable of physical violence, let alone beat up his own mother, who he loves. He's nothing, it's not like nothing personal against her or anything. But she was so afraid, she locked him in. She locked him in the room. And he would punch at that door to get out. And it was night after night. Eventually, the mom, I think, moved out.
What's the name of that drug where people go, they actually sleepwalk in bizarre ways? Like people will actually go like grocery shopping while they're sleepwalking. Have you heard about that?
I've heard about that. I don't know
what's the name of that damn anyway. It's a drug that's supposed to help you sleep more, but it just causes people to go on crazy sleepwalking binges.
Okay.
Anyway.
Ambien can do it.
That's exactly what I was thinking of. Anyway, sorry. It was pretty funny. It's a funny thing.
I used to take Ambien. I came off of it because I didn't like the sort of forceful nature of it. My ex-husband, he also took Ambien and he became very violent.
Oh, really? Wow.
It can cause hallucinations.
Awful.
It can cause hallucinations. He exacerbated the problem with alcohol. So
that's awful.
Mix those two. But yes, so it's one of those situations where Ambien can already screw with you if you stay awake on it, but take something else while you're on it, and that's just it. The person is gone. So, yeah, drugs are a thing.
Well, I mean, wasn't that what caused Roseanne to lose her show?
I tend to buy it. That if you're on Ambien, you're about to do some weird stuff. I saw pink elephants one time out across a freaking football field, just strolling across it like it was nothing. And I was like, hey, I should go home.
When you're seeing pink elephants, it's time to go home.
Taking a stroll.
All right, guys. So I'm gonna head to the normal topic that I discussed. We all, because I think a lot of people are interested in this. I definitely am.
I'm gonna stick around for about another 10-15 minutes, because I do have one other thing I have to do before I can actually get some sleep tonight. So.
Yeah, no worries. I hope you get some good sleep after what we've discussed.
I'll be fine.
Look up sleep apnea and take some Ambien, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, you'll be fine. Yeah. And look out for Bigfoot. So like the reason why I like Bigfoot as a topic is because it's one of my personal favorite topics because it for me it questions where we came from. It questions like the whole our up like basically the whole where humanity comes from. If we're not the only walking, talking human beings, then we have to question everything we were taught as kids, about anthropology. And so that's one of the reasons it's one of those really fascinating things. So I'm just going to go around and see, like, Missy, we'll start with you. What are your take on Bigfoot? Are you a foot believer?
Bigfoot is a topic that always incites laughter in people when they hear the idea of it. And that's what interests me about most things is just it's so ridiculous. It can't be possible. No, we refuse to talk about it because it's not possible. And I find that a fascinating response because if it's not possible, then it's not possible, and there's no reason for you to be talking to people and telling them that they're crazy for looking into it, because it doesn't affect you. It doesn't affect you if you don't think it's real. And I would like to think that Bigfoot was something of an anomaly. I've seen pictures. I've not been convinced by said pictures. But it is an interesting thing to talk about and to consider. Maybe there is humanoid creatures walking around in the woods, protecting the woods, and don't want to be caught on camera.
Well, it's like the amount of sightings alone, and it's not in the hundreds, and it's in the like thousands and thousands, and it's not just in one country; it's in multiple countries, you know. And that's sort of what gets me. And they all say the same things verbatim in a lot of cases, depending on where they are. It's all the same thing. And it's just that's sort of what gets me, is how could the same people from two different even countries have similar experiences with this supposed ape-like creature? And I'm talking about subtle differences, like nuances that most people like would just say, well, what do you think of a Bigfoot? And then you have your mind what Harry Henderson you have in your mind, you'll just say, well, this. But there is actually nuances that they say specifically, and I'll get to those. But Mary, you're leaving soon, so I'll ask you next. What do you think vis-a-vis Bigfoot?
So I'm happy to be convinced. I've never seen anything about it that pushes me one way or the other. I recognize that there are things out there that we don't know about, that we may never understand. But I'm sort of I'm not inherently suspicious or inclined to believe conspiracy theories, but I'm also not closed off from it. You could say I just sort of land right here in the middle. Convince me. That's not necessarily easy to do, given all of the things that people can now do with video, right? So it would probably be pretty difficult to convince me flat out. I would have to be someone that I knew, really well, and I knew well enough to trust them implicitly, who came to me with a personal story that I believed them, and maybe some video evidence, but even video evidence from somebody, from some rando. I'm like, yeah, okay, how'd you doctor it? Because I just prefer not to be gullible, I guess. I don't know.
Well, the word believe is one of those words that I think was overused, because in order to believe something, you have to listen to what other person says and then make a judgment on something. But believe is never knowledge, right?
Yeah.
Believe is just, I believe in God, but I don't know. I believe in the skies or in aliens in the sky, but I don't know. The word believe means, just that word in itself means I have to listen to what someone else says and take their word for it, and then, I'm making my judgment based on that. So
I will say I don't not believe. I think that's the best way to phrase it. It's not, I don't not believe at all.
Yeah. Well, it's a fun topic. I mean, it's an interesting one to like even DBS, you said you want to believe, right?
Yeah, I want to believe, but they never found remains of a Bigfoot, so it's kind of hard to believe.
That's actually not true, by the way, but go ahead.
Decades ago, there was this black comedian once spoke of a guy he knew who married a Bigfoot female. Yeah. Was it raw or was it delirious?
Oh my God! You talking Eddie Murphy? Yeah. Goonie Goo Goo?
Yeah, Goonie Goo Goo. Yeah,
I forgot. Dude, I need to rewatch these, man. Everybody's referencing. Everyone's referencing.
Well, that's a stand-up routine that Eddie Murphy had, where he'd go to a family barbecue, and
usually they say Bigfoot runs around in northern Oregon, and
specifically northern Oregon.
Yeah,
only.
Yeah.
They become Antifa, but nobody knows the truth.
Yeah, so,
what was that SNL? Sorry, what? No, I was just saying, what was that SNL? I think it was SNL like years ago. They're like, well, I actually think Bigfoot is just really that way. He's really blurry. And it's like it's like a photo of Bigfoot, and I was trying to find it here, but it's like, oh, he's actually blurry. He's made a digital Blurred
That
out.
would be awesome if
Just
he really was
pixelated all
blurred.
the time.
Yeah, it's like pixelated Ryan. He's just showing up.
Yes, exactly. He's real pixel. He's really pixelated. Yes.
But even that is also false. There's a lot of really amazing and awesome video and pictures of Bigfoot that is actually pretty sharp and looks pretty good. But when it's this is where people get the mind goes into, like, when it's too good, it's too good to be true, and when it's not good enough, it's I can't believe it. That's where we're sort of stuck in the middle of this whole thing. Like, ever had someone had this amazing, like,
Well, you know what might work? Catch a Bigfoot. Just saying, lay down some rope traps. Pull some Home Alone stuff and catch you a Bigfoot. And yeah, it's got to be doable, right? Like, go out there with a tranquilizer gun and shoot him in the ass.
They can't even get decent.
well, here's the thing. There's people who have had their sights and have told. I listen to Bigfoot stories like crazy. It's my thing. I love it. And their stories are very compelling because a lot of them say that it's so human-like that even when they have their guns set, their guns like sights set on it,
reason to
they
believe
say they can't shoot it because it looks too human. They just
all
can't.
more reason to believe that these things are catchable. People are stupid as shit. There's got to be a way to just to dart one of these mother suckers and get them nailed down, stick them in a cage. We'll analyze them, right? Like, hey, dude, teach it some gorilla sign language and build a bridge. Like, there's got to be a way to connect to one of these things. I'm just saying, you can't keep taking blurry pictures. At some point, you got to dart one of these mother suckers.
So they don't want to shoot one because it looks too human, but it's like running around naked or
no.
furry, like
I would dart my best friend if it meant proving Bigfoot was real. I do not have a problem with darting Bigfoot in the ass, tranquilizing him, and dragging him out like the freak show he is. I'm just saying, we can do this, guys. Let's we're humans. We're supposed to be smart enough to figure this stuff out.
You're assuming that we're smarter than them, because we don't know, right? We don't know. They're bigger than us. Their brain case could be bigger than us. We don't know how smart they really are. If they're a mammal, right?
I'm sorry, but they can't be that smart. Okay, we fly to space like regularly. Okay, we got shit orbiting the planet.
Yeah, that's not real.
I've never seen.
That's not real.
I've never seen a Bigfoot take off in a rocket ship and fly around the planet.
That's where they came from. That's where the Bigfoot people, the big feet is.
That smart. Like, let's just dart one and call this handled. Drag one out of the woods, and let's get to studying.
Okay, but there are stories, and I mean, these are stories. There are stories, and I've heard where again, it's like alien stuff. It's tales, but we don't know because there's no facts. That people have darted them, that they have got them, and then they call someone to come to take, like, from the government, to come check it out. The next day, that Bigfoot body is gone, just disappeared. And the reason is because the government confiscates in the same way they do with aliens.
Dude, why would you call the government? You call the newspaper. That's convenient. I'm just saying, I'm not calling the government if I dart.
The government doesn't have control over the newspaper.
I would take video of it and then put it on I would take video of it, put it on my YouTube channel, let it go viral.
The first person I'm calling is my mom. We're loading that sucker into the truck and taking it to town square. Look what I found, guys.
Well, what? Do you own a dog? Do you own any animals?
I do. I have 2 dogs.
Okay.
So yeah, like, let's chuck the sucker into the bed of the truck. We're taking this public. I'm not calling the government.
I throw my back in my truck.
Even if you do call the news, right? Again, we don't know if they're going to take that shit seriously too. Like, who knows? These things are so rare, right? What I'm talking about rare is finding them, actually getting your gun set on your sights on them. These things are so rare, and most of the times they're just hunters or people who are just hikers who aren't prepared to see them, that actually see them, right? They're not, and the ones who actually go looking for
we know where they are. They're in Northern
Oregon.
go, guys. Get some dart guns. Go to Northern Oregon and handle some business so we can make this happen.
I figured out where they're actually from. So all of them are hipsters. They're old hipsters that decided to just live in the mountains. They're all from Portland. They moved from Portland. They're all hipsters from Portland, and then they just ended up growing hair. Like it's like a Portlandia episode right there. Right?
Look, I'm not trying to diminish.
In your sites,
I'm not trying to diminish this, Shane. I'm just saying there's a simple answer to
No,
that.
I'm not upset. I'm fine.
So Shani, you mentioned some specific findings, right? Were you talking about that a minute ago? You mentioned
the popular one is the Patterson-Gimlin film, which has been analyzed like crazy.
And that was in the 60s?
Yeah, that was before I mean, even the people who did Planet of the Apes said that if they actually made a fake costume, that would have cost them way more than what they even spent on their costume, because they said it was better technology. That guy, a couple of people, just made a better costume than they did in Hollywood at the same time for Planet of the Apes. And they even said it's way better because even in the Planet of the Apes, when they turned around, you see the zipper clearly. Whereas you can't see the zipper. You can look as hard as you want. You won't find a zipper on that.
Dude, you don't need a zipper. It's called Velcro.
Oh, they didn't have Velcro. Did they have Velcro in the 60s?
Yeah, Velcro overlaps. You can't see. I'm a cosplayer, okay?
But when was Velcro invented, though? I could have sworn it didn't come out until late 70s, early 80s, but I could be wrong. When was it invented?
Well, I mean, there's other things. There's buttons. I mean, I guess there's other things. But I mean, I think the point was that there's a seam, right? And regardless of if it's Velcro, whatever, there's a seam.
Like shag carpeting.
Okay, I'm completely wrong. Just so you guys know, Velcro came out in the 40s. Jeez, I can't believe
really?
that. George de Maustral, 1940s. Damn, Switzerland. The damn Swiss.
I love that you're checking your facts as you go. That's
well,
great.
I have to. You got to look it up. It's like I gotta find this out now.
That's why I love Ben. Ben's the fact check.
But according to the FBI has analyzed that video that you're talking about. I'm looking at it right now, and if they're talking about right here, there's this article is written horribly. Sorry, everybody, it's written horribly, so I'm not even going to try to read it because the people that are actually hired to write these days are not writers. I can't. It's insane. But apparently, they're saying good things about it. But it's like how do you know? It's just one shot, right? He just goes across, and it's like literally 2-3 seconds of film. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's actually longer than the
is it?
Longer than people think. They actually track it for long. You see it walk. There's actual boobs because it's a female. People don't realize that actually when you see it and they pause it, there actually is boobs on it when it turns. So somebody had to not just fake the costume, but put boobs on it too. I mean, I guess it's possible, but
hubba.
You got some weird taste, Diff. I like them hairy. But there's a lot. And also they said, because people asked them why didn't you shoot them, and they said that there was a lot more than just one of them. They said they heard multiple like lurking around the bushes, so that they were just afraid. Like you kill one, that doesn't mean you're going to get rushed by a bunch of them. And that's also the case with a lot of people who also encounter there's a gun. Like they point a gun at them, but then they notice that there's more of them than just one at some point, that they go and pack. So I don't know. Again, you're right. It's stories. We can't really. It's like anything though. Like we'll never until we are knowers. We have to be believers with all of this, right? And so it's become a leap of faith.
And I'm not saying that it's not possible, and I'm not even saying that I'm uninclined. Like if presented with like good solid proof, I'm just saying there got to be a lot of people out there who are super interested in this topic. Let's get everybody together, okay? Get a whole
find it. Yeah, I get.
Find it, right? Like let's make it happen, guys. I'm just saying, if it's out there, make it happen. If you're dutiful, like Yoda says, do or do not. There is no try. Let's make this happen.
Yes.
Even ghost.
Well, there's a lot. Go ahead.
Even ghost hunters in their ghost hunting shows fake some of the shit that they find in their ghost shows because they can't find anything in particular. It's not that they don't believe it's just that they need viewers. Those shows where they try to there's shows where they try to find Bigfoot, but it's for viewers. They need the money to continue to do it, and if they don't have viewers, then they can't do it, so they fake it. That's just how those things go.
Yeah, no, and that's especially ones with those, like, I think once it gets popular and then they don't, people are like, well, it's too boring, and then it's really weird. Those shows I don't believe at all. There's a lot of fakery going on. I don't know if you remember the Canadian guy who used to go in the wilderness. What was his name? What the heck was his name? You guys know him? The Les, I think Les. He used to live in the woods. I should know. I'm Canadian, for heaven's sakes. Yeah. The hell is his name? Survivor Man. Remember Survivor Man?
Yeah.
He actually went on a Bigfoot hunt. He has two experiences. See, Survivor Man says there's Bigfoot, because I believe Survivor Man. I don't see. He never talks about it in his videos. He never talks about it in any of his shows. But twice he's in private. People have recorded him actually saying he's had two encounters with something he believes could be Bigfoot. He doesn't know for sure. Just that he knew he was alone in the woods. He knows that there was no humans where he could possibly have been, and he knew that what he heard was audible sound from because he knows every type of animal he's heard. So he knows. He was like outside of his tent. He heard grunting one day. He was just like in the middle of the night. He heard.
I heard grunting outside of one of my tents while I was camping too. Turned out it was my ex-husband, and he was taking a big old dump. So I'm just saying. So that was a joke. So
you're telling me that his ex-husband was outside his tent in the middle of the woods?
Yeah.
Taking a shit?
I mean, could have been anybody. I'm just saying. Anybody could.
Well, not where Survivor Man goes. He doesn't go to the net, like just to the local parks. He goes in the middle of like dense bush. That's what he did.
He's got a troll who follows him everywhere he goes.
But but there's. I mean, if this guy says something, then I don't know. I'm inclined to believe him more than others, really. But let's see. Can someone pull up that Patterson Gimlin just real quick?
I'm gonna have to scoot because it's about 10 after 1 in the morning.
Sure, man. I'm glad you stayed for as long as you did. It's not gonna go for too much longer. But let's check out that if you want to
I'll find it.
Pimp out your channel, Mary Mayhem, guys. Check out Mary Mayhem, please. She's
sure. Well, guys, hi, I'm Mary B.
Everybody knows you, but go ahead anyway.
Oh no, I'm happy to observe the niceties. So I'm Mary B, Mistress of Mayhem, disruptor of the narrative, and official Wayman card holder, which I am not on camera to throw right now. So you can find me over at my channel, Mary Mayhem, where I talk about newsy news stuff during the week and have a little fun on the weekends. And I look forward to having you on for shenanigans soon, Shane.
All right, thank you. Yes, for sure, anytime.
Good night, Mary.
Good night, guys. Same way. See you.
Good talking to you, Mary.
Good talking to you, hon. Miss, wait. I do have to do one quick thing before I go. Miss, you wanna hang out?
Yeah, sure.
Love you. All right, bye, guys.
So can you pull that out? Just see if you can find that the Patterson Gimlin. Mary's not a believer.
Yeah, I've looked it over a couple of times now, and it looks like just someone walking in a suit. I mean,
sure. I actually hold on.
Because the way they're walking too, it looks like a person. It really looks like a person.
That gate has been actually proven that no human could actually walk that way.
Really?
It's been analyzed. Yeah, it's been analyzed by professionals, like sports professionals who've actually analyzed gates. Human beings don't walk with that particular gate, and it's almost
he almost walks like a tall basketball player, like a globetrotter. When that video where he's walking across, he's like strutting. Well, we'll see the video right now when Ben pulls it up.
You said it was. I'm sorry. You said it was. What was the name of it?
The Patterson.
Was the name of
Gimlin?
Patterson.
Yeah, like people know it as Patty.
Gimlin.
Gimlin. Yeah. Sorry. What did I say?
No, I don't know. I don't know the name. Sorry.
So yeah, and also if you guys check out this guy Thinker Thunker, this guy analyzes all the footage. Like he goes into great detail. I'm going to pull up some of his videos, which are pretty cool. I'm a big follower of Think of Thugger.
So yeah, I mean, go ahead. Sorry.
No. There's a lot of people that analyze these things with fine tooth comb. So we could check some of that out. And well, I know somebody said in the chat they had an experience. Let's see, like a personal one, which I like personal experiences.
So I'm sharing. Is it working?
Okay. So let me know when you're, and I'll put it up.
It's there. I'm sharing. There we go.
Okay.
So
let's see.
That's the one this is the one you're talking about, right? Is this the wrong
yes,
one?
I believe that's the one. Yeah.
So I'm backing it up.
Yeah, that's the one that I wasn't very convinced by.
Well, that's the one that's the most, just because of the time. Like the time, like all the stuff now, it's so hard because the modern stuff could be faked with CGI or with, and like this is the only one that in its time you can't really. They don't have the technology.
Right. That's why it's priceless, because like nowadays you could. I mean, how many hoax videos?
Yeah,
those hoax videos that came out in the 2000s, like people were making. I remember seeing like a video of a giant squid like on a building, and someone's like, "Look, giant squid!" It's like taking over a building, and it looked really good. Like the effects were really well done. I was blown away at how amazing it looked. They're like, "Hey, this is a real thing."
I remember when I was a kid in like the early 2000s, there was a video of Bigfoot walking around a parking lot.
Yeah.
That was him. It was Chewbacca.
Mm.
So let's see.
Just tell me if you want me to pause it.
Well, can you make it bigger, or is that any way? I think.
Yeah, of course. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no.
No, I agree completely, and I'm just getting used to this. Sorry. Is that better?
Way better.
It's really hard because they have a stabilizer on. Like, does this one have the stabilizer?
This one does or doesn't?
It
seems like this is a crappy. Like there are some cleaned up ones.
Most of them are stabilized. Let's see. See, yeah, this is not a very very good image of it, because some of them you see they go really in close, and you can see exactly the face. You can even see the face. I'm looking for something now to see if I can find it, because they're check out Thinker Thunker, guys, if you can. That guy has some amazing videos. He always has these things. But anyway,
I'm still finding it, man. I was looking for it for a while, and I found some videos.
So here's the nuances. Before you find it, so I'm going to tell you the nuances. The nuances that people talk about in their the people that talk about. So when you hear these stories, here's the things that when you hear, okay, if you hear Bigfoot, right? What are the first things that come to your mind? Big.
Big. There. Shady's back.
Okay.
Yeah. So what do you guys think of, like, when you hear this, right? It's you think big, Harry Henderson. That's what you think of, right? That's your initial response.
Yeah, because I saw that movie a million times when I was a kid.
Slim Jim commercials.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. But most people don't describe Bigfoot that way. That's sort of the weird thing about it, and they describe it sort of a different way. Most of them describe this big-headed guy, and there's different Bigfoots from different areas, so there's sort of different looks from different areas. But most of the time, you see this red eyes, which is always the case. Most of them are red eyes. They have big, burly bodies, but a small head, like as if the head doesn't belong to the body. Like it's like almost like a human head, like that, just on a huge, massive body most of the time. Then you've got the eyes, this is the one that always gets me, because
can you see that now? Can you see it?
That's a great one. I wish we could zoom in, but yeah. Because there's people who...
I'm sorry, I'm zoomed the most I can. Sorry,
no,
guys.
not you. I know, but
it's good. It's good.
I can slow it here. I can slow the speed down.
One of the thing with the eyes, they say that and this one again is the one that really gets me, is because for multiple people with different stories to say this is kind of weird. So the eyes, they say, look Down syndrome, which that's what they say, right? He's got these weird looking eyes, and that's sort of a weird anomaly, for multiple people to say.
To say that it's all that they're red eyed.
No, that they have that they look like they have Down syndrome in the face. That's the one that gets me the most, because I'm like, you could say their face looks like Chewbacca, or you could say their face is, looks like a monkey, or a gorilla. But the fact that they make that detail, that it has a Down syndrome look to it, and that's multiple cases, many times over, people from who don't know each other saying the exact same detail, and also their language sounds Japanese, which is weird. They sound like a Japanese person.
So how many people have heard him talk?
Sorry?
So you're saying that a lot of people have attested to them hearing them talk?
Yeah, there's chatter that people have actually recorded that. You can actually look up recordings. People have recordings of this. So that's the weird thing. And then what about there's so much feet with dermal footprints that they've casted with dermal ridges, which how do you explain dermal ridges on a fake cast? Which that's another thing.
Hey Ben, in this video clip, do they say where this footage was taken?
Let's see. Yeah, this is 1967. It's the Patterson-Gimlin footage, stabilized, and like I was talking about, and it was in 1967.
Michael Starr says
Where?
They have red glowing eyes, and Dogman have amber glowing eyes. That's another one.
Shaney, what was the location of this sighting again?
Shoot, I don't remember. Guys,
I'll find out. I'll find out right here. Hold on.
Stig said he has Stig Knoby said he had an experience with Bigfoot. I wonder if we can get Stig on.
Bluff Creek, California, DBS.
Stig, you want to come on and talk about your experience?
Yeah, it has to be Northern California.
And
this Bigfoot couldn't come down to LA. We'd kick his ass. He's trying to step, walk like he owns the place. He'd get his ass kicked in LA.
But then there's a lot of weird.
He's just like trying to get himself a latte in LA, and everybody's just, get out of here, Bigfoot. And they're just like, what? I just want a freaking latte. I just want to hang out with you guys. They just get, he gets
your local Bigfoot is a barista.
He would be perfect. He would be perfect walking down Hollywood Boulevard. They would hand them money. You're like, oh damn.
Yeah, they probably, or like the opening for Star Wars. But let's see. Can you pull up while you're there? Can you pull up maybe look up see if you can find audio from the Bigfoot audio.
I'm sorry for your recommendations, Ben.
Are you kidding me? This is so much. No, it's. Wait, are you?
For me? Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to ask her. You're apologizing for me getting recommended.
You're going to get recommended so many things.
Oh, that's fine.
Did you send a link to Stig Knoby?
Oh, he doesn't have a story. He was referencing a joke that was made on Shenanigans.
Yeah.
No, I just would like to have him on to hear his soothing voice.
Mm-hmm.
His nice voice. His hello there.
So it's you have nothing to worry about, DBS. It's Bluff Creek, California is several hundred miles north
on the border of Oregon. Probably on the border of Oregon up there.
So I think the problem that we're going to run into is that generally StreamYard will mute audio.
You have to specifically select share audio when you share.
Thank you very much.
So you have to stop sharing and then reshare.
Okay.
See, one thing I find fascinating is if it is real, right? Like what it implies is that at some level, at some point, the human species has sort of separated, like whether it's Neanderthal or whether it's, you know what I mean? How do we explain it, right? It's just it's so hard to explain if it's real. And remember what I said, there's like hundreds of thousands of sightings in this. Only need one to be real.
And there are
for it to be.
references to many Bigfoot-like creatures in Native American culture throughout different regions of America, them worshiping, not really worshiping is the wrong word, but sort of, I don't know, finding...
Coexisting.
Yeah, coexisting with sort of these Bigfoot-like creatures. I'm going to say like creatures because Bigfoot sort of, I feel like the title of Bigfoot's a joke. People sort of, you can't really take that sort of seriously. I think there's human-like, ape-like creatures that can't be explained, that are referenced throughout different cultures and different, even sort of just Native American beliefs.
Yeah,
you know,
even the name Sasquatch is messed up too. It's funny to me, Sasquatch.
You know, my favorite rendition of that word. Do any of you guys watch the Trailer Park Boys?
No, I do not.
No.
Okay, so one of the characters insists that it's called a Sam Squamch.
A Sam Squamch.
He's like, I think I just saw a Sam Squamch.
Is that Bubbles?
Yes, Bubbles does that. It's they're like, you mean a Sasquatch? He's like, no, a Sam Squamch. It's pretty funny. It's really funny. All right. It's definitely
Michael Stark says, can you show trailer from Nightmare Documentary 2015? They show sleep around. Oh, that's an old one. Yeah, well, again, what it implies is extremely pervasive, and we kind of like think about this. If we have a cousin somewhere that is almost well, at least has intelligence in some form and walks in two legs, that throws most religions out the toilet. And right away, just think about the people who would not want that information to be let out because of just how crazy people would act if they figured out that all religions, you know, how are you going to explain Bigfoot, you know, if you're talking about religions, right? Then you got the fact that, you know, well, there's the whole Lloyd Pye thing. I don't know if you guys know about Lloyd Pye, but he's an anthropologist who studied a lot of the skulls, and he keeps saying we're looking for, you know, like we still haven't found what you call the missing link, right? That's the whole thing. Human beings, like in the skull records, we haven't found the missing link. But he contests that if you look at the actual records, the skull records over the years, there's actually minor differences up until the point where Cro-Magnon man and I guess human actually like when you go to Neanderthal and then Cro-Magnon man, there's a huge leap that would take more than one step. It would take at least, I think they said it would take 12 steps to get from that point to human. And it does, and it's not one leap because they say there's just minor differences in the cranium up to that point, right? And then all of a sudden there's this massive leap,
massive jump.
Yeah, that would be multiple steps. So how do you go from one? Sorry,
I do have to get going. It is
okay.
Really
Good to meet you. Good to meet you, Miss.
Yeah, it was great to meet you. It was great to talk about this stuff. Seriously, it's fun. And
yeah,
awesome. You're welcome anytime. We'll try and get a little more prompt with.
Mary's stories. She's an amazing storyteller, and she goes into great detail, and that does take a lot of time to discuss.
It's okay. We love it. But yeah, we're still figuring this whole thing out too. This is only the second one we've done, so we're still figuring out the formula, or at least I am anyway. But you're welcome anytime, really, and you're knowledgeable, so I'm really glad we have someone knowledgeable as well on this subject. All right, thank you, Miss.
Good night, Miss.
You want to pimp out your channel?
I have a channel if you want to check it out. I don't usually discuss this stuff on the regular. I talk about nerdy stuff like Star Wars and Doctor Who and Star Trek, and all with a negative touch to them because I am an angry person. If you want to check those out, you go on ahead.
Guys, check out our channel and please subscribe to Miss Sarcastic Nerd.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a good one. Good
Bye.
night.
Yeah, they should also follow her on Twitter.
Yeah. Well, we're not gonna leave. We're gonna leave a little bit, not for too long from now, because I don't want to go for too long, guys. I'm really sorry. Yeah, I know Mary is a very enthusiastic storyteller, and so like I didn't want to interrupt her. So she was really vivacious in her storytelling. She actually should tell stories for a living. She's really good at it. But so that kind of took a bit while. But so yeah,
I'm sharing in case you're one. I mean, I've been sharing it.
Oh,
Can
sorry,
you see
man.
it? No, it's fine. So it's there. No, not at all. I just don't know if we can hear this audio. I selected share audio, but I don't know if it's
BigFoot.
I think it's going to stop us from.
The unidentified
Can you guys not? You guys can't hear it either, right?
November by locals.
Oh, I can hear it.
You can hear it?
Yes.
Indian
Turn the volume
reservation,
up. I can't
home
hear
to
anything.
about 1,500 people. Several residents have called the housing
Maybe I'm
authority
deaf.
to note the alarming sounds, some citing the presence of Bigfoot in Native American lore. Local news reports note that the Blue Mountains area has been a hotspot for Bigfoot activity since the discovery of large footprints in 1966. Those are now thought to be the work of prankster Ray Wallace, who died in 2002. So are the latest sounds really a sign of Sasquatch? That depends on who you ask. Some local true believers insist the shrieks are foreign to the region, but others say that the sounds are the characteristic high-pitched calls of young foxes.
Is this the wrong
Want more
thing, Shani?
science? We've got the latest on
Well, I
discoveries
mean,
and
I think there's
breakthroughs.
actual
Check out
audio
Sleep.
recordings that are just like
I can't because I can't hear any of that. The audio is not coming through to me at all.
No, well, it's just like a news report, and it sounds like it's
I'm just yeah. What about this one?
Cleveland County 911.
No, I can't hear anything from these videos.
Really?
No audio is coming through from me at all.
That's strange. I could hear it.
That's weird.
Or maybe somebody else could share, and maybe you'll be.
Yeah,
Maybe
I'll
find something. Let me see if I'm not good at this stuff, so let me just figure it out. Okay, so yeah, that's from the movie, the show Finding Bigfoot, which is a joke to me. I find that that's, of all things, a joke. That one is. But like, what would you think? What would you think, Ben? The implications would be if they ever did, figure that out. Like, if it was proven that it was real.
If it was proven that it was real, I mean, it proves some weird things. It proves some. I mean, obviously, I would. My first thought is that it's related to apes or that type of thing. It's a primate of some kind. And that these days I've been listening to so much. There's so much craziness, and I used to date this girl who was a firm believer in evolution. She's an anthropologist, and we had long discussions about that. So there's this whole evolution thing that people have to discuss. So it's like, is it related to us and all those other things? And I think that it could be possible that evolution and God can exist at the same time, and I don't know. I'm not sure about that. But anyway, as far as if it was found, I'd be like, hallelujah. I would think how bizarre, how weird, how strange, and how would this type of species be kept secret for so long and not found? I mean, I think that it would have been. If we were going to find anything, we would have found it by now.
Let me ask you a question. Do you believe JFK was assassinated?
That, yeah, definitely.
Well, how could that secret be kept all this time?
You're okay. It's touche. I mean, well, it wasn't.
You also believe in 9/11. How could that?
The secret. Hold on. Let's back up for a second. The secret was proven. What's his name? Is it Lee Harvey Oswald? Is it Lee Harvey Oswald, the guy who was gunned down? He was pinned. They pinned him down, and then someone else shot him on camera, and that's proved. That's
but
proven.
no, it's not proved. There's debates. There's people. That's theories. It's conspiracy. That's see what I'm saying. All that's
Okay.
falls in the realm
Okay.
of conspiracy theory. Proof.
So you're saying that? So are you saying that was faked?
I'm a believer. What I'm saying is that until a scientist or someone in some form of sciences, whether it's forensic science or someone says, and puts it in a history book and says JFK was assassinated by a man in the grassy knoll, who's related to the Bush family or something like that, then they will continuously go on the fact that it was all a conspiracy. You know what I mean? It's the same thing with 9/11, the same thing with all this, like you said, the moon landing. It doesn't matter what we believe. There's proof. There's proof that the moon landing exists, or the moon landing, sorry, is a hoax. But until it's taught by the sciences or proved by scientists, no one is going to accept it, right? And meanwhile, you could throw up all kinds of footage and all kinds of stuff, and people will still deny it, right? Because until someone of the mainstream with clout says and puts it in a history book, and it's taught in school, and it's on the National Geographic, Discovery Channel.
But even the lines of who actually has clout these days are being blurred as we speak. I mean, like we were talking about before. I mean, people who are of some certain status, people who are writers of actual publications can't even write a real article. I mean, a lot of these lines are being blurred, and so it's like, who's to say who's the authority on these things? It's difficult to say. I mean, we
know what the authority is. The authority is what it's always been. It's always been the news media and the professors and the scientific community, and until the scientific community, which they won't even touch. It's funny because scientists will touch anything, but they won't touch Bigfoot. It's such a joke even amongst the crazy paranormal field. It's such a joke, or considered as such a joke, that they won't even touch it because their careers are done. If they even go into it. You know what I mean? So there's no one with any clout investigating this. So even if Bob and his buddies, from the truck yard go hunting Bigfoot and shoot one in the street, and keep it in the fridge, there's no one's going to look at it. So that's what I'm saying. Is it's weird. So you want to? I'm going to share something if you don't mind.
Go. Are you kidding? I've been trying to find the audio this whole time, and I just can't. Okay. I mean, it makes it difficult to.
Let's see what is this?
Yeah, let's hear it.
All right.
I did research on an alligator, and they sound really interesting. Alligators sound really crazy.
Believing that they're humans.
Can you hear the audio on that, by the way?
I can.
Yeah.
Okay.
Magically shrink and grow and distort their bodies in ways not even humanly possible, or believing in Bigfoot. And I hate to tell some of you this, but it's either one or the other, unless you are just so completely oblivious. So stick around, and I'll show you what I found. Would you say the red lines line up with the green lines? It's not even close, is it? I mean, there would have to be something really wrong with you to think the two lined up. Yet, 2/3 of America would look at this and say, oh, yeah, it lines up close enough for them. Or, it's just all too fuzzy and blurry, and that'd be
zoom in on the ass
quality before bother looking at it.
A good thing there's nothing dangling in between there. That's good.
Okay, but even the fact that you could see the ass, just think about what you just said. Look at its ass. Like, who's going to take the time to make, like, have you ever seen Halloween costumes? There's no ass. It's just, you know what I mean? Look at how detailed. Look at the muscles. Look at the back.
Look at the line where the good Lord split them. They jump in the trunk. Exactly.
Tell me that that's a costume. Look at the muscles in the back. What costume in the 1960s is this? This is Patterson.
That's where Kylo Ren, sliced Finn like straight up. That line cut that ham in half.
So hold on,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
To get what I'm trying to say here with a light and with body ratios. So let's start with Bob first. Now, Bob is fuzzy and blurry.
The guy who claims he hoaxed it, by the way.
Shoulders, and his elbow, and his wrist, and his knee. And in case you don't know, Bob is the man who claimed it was he wearing the female monkey suit in the Patterson-Gimlin film.
Okay.
And you can see Bob's red team member lines up perfectly on the shoulder. And if their arms were being held the same, their elbows would line up. And we can see their wrists line up and their knees line up. So your next question might be, what in the world is Shaquille O'Neal doing here? Well, Shaquille is a giant to most people. So I needed someone like him to illustrate that even someone that large, once they're scaled down to Bob's size, and by the way, I've done that with everybody for comparison's sake, scale them all to the same size, but once they scale down, he and Bob share the exact same body ratios. So it doesn't matter what your nationality is, or what your heritage is, or male or female. Doesn't matter. We humans share the same body ratios, plus or minus small degrees. Okay, so now let's look at the green team alignment. You can see the four major joints here: shoulder, elbow, wrist, and knee. And you can look through here for yourselves and see how they all line up. And then you can compare those to the red team and see that they are inches. I mean, it's a complete fail on lineup, apart from ankles. So, skeptics, the burden of proof is now on you guys. I mean, this is real. Body ratios are real. They can't be faked. And so you're going to have to address this, because body ratios are going to shut down every single argument you have. You're going to have to do some videos and explain to us how Bob or how any humans.
Sorry, I guess we get where he was going with that. Sorry, I guess we bogged down the conversation. So, what do you guys think of that? Like, he's got plenty of videos where he talks about ratios and body ratios, and that's pretty significant, man. When we think about, you know what I mean? As far as proof is concerned, if you're going to fake it doesn't matter who you are, even if you're Chewbacca, you can wear a suit and say you're going to elongate the arms, but you're never going to change the bend of where your elbow is, right?
So his point that the guy who claimed is lying.
His point is that the suit can't be a human, because a human's body ratios don't line up with Patterson-Gimlin's body ratios. Like the ankle and the shoulder the arms are proven to be way longer than a human's ratios are. So
has he looked at the suit though? I don't know. Without looking at
there is no suit. I can't see a suit if there's no suit. Right? You have to produce the suit, and so that's the whole. Anyone could claim, oh yeah, I was in a suit, but you produced the suit. But his point was just human being body ratios are all the same. It doesn't matter the size. So you, me, Shaquille O'Neal, doesn't matter how tall we are.
Yeah.
Our elbow to shoulder ratio is the same, and our shoulder to wrist ratio is the same. And he's proven that that it's not. He's on multiple videos, if you see, where he proves ratios and different images and stuff. But yeah. That's
forgive me. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me, Shaney. I don't want to derail the conversation, but I do have to address what Michael Stark is saying.
Go ahead.
The moon is mysterious. Odds are impossible that the moon is on exact orbit by chance, and that we have full moon eclipses. Yeah, dude, the moon that's a whole other thing. So we're not going to get into it tonight, obviously. But for me personally, I think the moon is I don't know what it is, but it's not what people tell us it is, because for it to remain exact, we've never seen this other side of it's always, it's so apparently it's always the same goddamn thing that just comes around every single time, and it remains in constant symmetry with the planet, with the earth. I find that total.
I know, Shaney, we're going to do a live, all of us are going to do a live about the moon. That'll be in another day, but yeah,
listen, we could listen. I think we pretty much exhausted the Bigfoot talk at this moment without someone with actual proof. I mean, I think for me, the line.
But would you say that you believe 100% that it's real?
No, I don't believe anything 100%. I don't
Okay.
believe anything 100%. What I'm saying is like I'll say that I do think that there is a lot of circumstantial evidence that could support, like even DBS said, until someone throws out a body, it's always going to be in the realm of I don't know, right? We would just be in the realm of what you believe or what you choose to believe, unless you're a witnesser. You know what I mean? Where like there's a difference between believing and knowing. If you've seen it, then you can whereas so all you have is that. So for me, like everything else could be faked because of the timing. The Patterson Gimlin is really for me the most compelling, just because anyone could, and there's a lot of trolls that'll go out there and say, yeah, I faked it because I want to be star, I want to be famous. But prove you did. You can't just state you did just because you want to. And this guy, I think, proves that he would never be able, his ratios would never fit the suit. So anyway, I don't know. I think it's a possibility. And I would give it, if I was to throw a number, I'd give it a 75 of belief versus non-belief. If that makes any sense. Of a Bigfoot creature.
Hey, I see Ben smile.
I'm because Black Hat's saying that I'm done. So okay, I mean that's fine. I mean I it's one of those things where I just find it hard to believe. There's a lot of things I find it hard to believe. I find it hard to believe that the moon is real, and I don't even think it's a real thing. I don't even. Anyway, there's a lot of stuff out there these days, and a lot of people.
The reason why I pointed out about you smiling is like, whatever you're drinking, what is it? Because I want to drink the same thing. You look like you're in a good mood. You're cruising, and
well,
he's thinking about the Mandalorian.
No, I'm not. I'm not at all. I don't care about. I'm not caring about that. I don't care about that at all. I actually just barely saw Big Hero 6 for the first time, and it was fucking awesome. I love that movie. It was great. I never saw it before. No, it's to me personally, I find it. I mean, so just okay. So I'm gonna address the. So he says, right? Black Hat says, let's see. Tell me which part of the moon's gravity reaching Earth's means, and the Earth's gravity must be reaching the moon, which whooshed over your head. So he's saying that the moon should remain constant, all the time, no matter what. So it should be in exact concert with the Earth, no matter what. Like for gravity to be something that exact is just weird to me. That's what I'm talking about. I haven't done extensive research on the moon. I don't know details about it, but I do know that it's weird. And for it to be exactly the same, no matter where you are, no matter where it is, to be exact, that's weird to me.
So I'm gonna go on a limb, and like again, there's no judgment here. I'm not judging. I'm just gonna ask because I don't care. Are you a flat earther?
Yeah, I don't want to bring that up now, but
well, listen,
I do know.
Get into it because I'm not. There's no judgment.
I mean,
That's not how.
Well, according to scientists, they believe that we're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour,
803 or something like that.
So the Earth is spinning that fast, right? So no matter what happens, even when planes take off, the Earth doesn't pass underneath them. There's all these things, and there's a million videos on it, but. I mean, I don't know what to believe these days. I mean, we've been told these certain things. We've been indoctrinated. Maybe it's all real. But I saw this video once that they talked about how this solar system is traveling. Like the entire solar system is like spinning. All the planets are spinning around the sun at like this astronomical, ridiculous rate. And then the sun's traveling also. So like our solar system is like literally moving like thousands of miles per hour right now. So it's like, and apparently our regular lives are completely oblivious to all of this. So part of me, I can't help but, question. You got to question these things. I personally, Black Hat, I question things I don't understand. And that's what I'm talking about. So you may have a specific experience that leads you to believe that you know for sure, no matter what, without a doubt, that in your mind you know for sure that the Earth, that the moon is without a doubt, the moon is what it is, and we never saw the dark side of the moon. To me, that's a little weird and a little fishy for us to not ever see the dark side of the moon. Just my 2 cents on it. Once again, I'm not some expert on the moon. I'm not an expert on eclipses. But according to what we're supposed to believe, that the entire solar system, this entire galaxy is spinning. Everything's spinning at thousands of fucking miles an hour. I'm sorry, but it's weird. It's a little weird. I mean, we believe it when we're told, when we're in a kindergarten. Yes, the sun is doing this many miles, and yes, everything is. This is the way it is. We've been told this, so therefore, anyone to question it is considered a fucking nut. But it's like, do we actually have any evidence? Recently, in the last, what was it? I think was it 2 months ago? NASA. Oh, sorry, this photo of the Earth was it was a painting the whole time. Blah, 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 blah. It's like, that was supposed to be a photo
for the flat earthers, for sure. That one was a boon to them.
I'm not saying I'm a flat earther. I don't know what the hell to believe, but I don't believe every single piece of information that we're fed. Like, I question.
Look, I am with you. I'm actually with you on this, Ben. To be honest, I know I'm having you on a limb here, but
yeah, I'm probably.
I actually no. I 100% believe in what you're saying. 100%. Like, here's the thing. I've had flat earther friends, and I'm not calling you a flat earther, but
I'm not a flat earther, but I don't believe we're on a spinning ball going 1,000 fucking miles an hour.
They have sent me some material to look up, and like, they're like, check this out, check that out, and I've looked at it extremely thoroughly because I find all this fascinating, and it doesn't matter what it is. And at the end of the day, I still thought that the Earth was round even after I saw that, because there's still a lot of things they can't even explain, and so I'm like, I'm not smart enough, even meaning I don't have the knowledge to go through this. And you know what I mean? When someone says, this is this, this is that, this is this, all I could shrug my shoulders and say, I guess if you say so, but I really me believing you is the same as me believing them. If you know what I mean? Because I have
a question. Like, okay, so let's say the Earth is flat. What about the moon? Is the moon flat too? Like, it's we look up in the sky, we see this round ball in the sky. So let's say the moon is also flat. It's like, it'd be like a quarter then. It's like, going across the sky like a quarter.
Right.
Quarter's flat. Is the moon flat?
I mean, I don't know. Actually, that's a good question. I'm not sure if they believe the moon is flat, but
let's pretend this is the moon. And there it goes across the sky. The moon. Or like my grandma says, La Luna. Ahí va la luna. But yeah, anyways.
No, I don't know.
I mean, to me, the moon is a fascinating thing. I mean, when we were kids, when I first learned that the moon was, according to what we're told, the moon is responsible for the waves, like for our climate, like
women's periods.
Yeah, it's responsible.
I'm sorry that I think of these kinds of thoughts. And
no, but is that real? Is that a real thing? Is that a real thing?
Yeah.
Well, because you're right. They're on a time clock. But I mean, apparently it can. So apparently, I've been told if the moon went out of orbit for some reason, that the waves would just overtake all of our. It's like everything would just be underwater. Then we'd be screwed without the moon.
See, the whole thing is that we're not. It's like, it's hard for people like us to really understand it, because we're not scientists, or we don't understand astrophysics, or we don't understand, like, it's hard for us, or even when they talk about planes going at specific speeds, like why if the Earth is rotating at this speed and the plane is going against the rotation, how is it that the Earth is actually catching up? Like, shouldn't it go way faster? Like, there's so many different things that I've heard.
Here's another mind F for you guys. Like, we look up with a tint glass to the sun, and it's we see it round, right? It's round. The sun, is it flat too? Like the sun? Would you believe, like, someone told you the sun is flat?
I don't know what the hell the sun is, but it's pretty amazing, whatever the hell it is, because it warms our planet, and I think that's amazing. But
Well, they believe the Earth is
let's
round.
pretend
They
this
just believe
quarter.
it's like a record.
Let's pretend this quarter's on fire, like really hot on fire. Here it goes across the sky, hot.
I agree with Black Hat Cinephile here. Our theories of existence.
My grandma would say,
our material standards.
El Sol.
I agree 100% with you guys on that. There's just like that's the biggest problem is that the academics, they take for granted, and this is an argument I've had with people, is that academics, whenever you bring up, like, my whole problem is I've heard multiple debates with, I've seen debates with flat earthers and academics, and academics roll their eyes immediately. They don't even acknowledge it because every time someone says, show me proof, they give you math. They start writing math equations on the board, where you and I don't.
Oh man, Shaney froze.
I want to get a screenshot of that. Oh damn!
Oh no, he came back. Okay,
damn
you froze for a second.
I want to get a screenshot of your
The
face.
government is trying to shut down what you're trying to say. They froze you. Go ahead and repeat what you were saying, because you froze for like
I did
seconds. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like Ben did. Like Ben.
Oh no, no. But what I said was,
here, I'll freeze too.
It's a conspiracy. They're out to get us. You want to shut us up? No, what I said was that whenever there's a debate between a flat earther and a scientist, right? The scientists who will either roll their eyes, not even acknowledge it, but when they do, they'll pull out the chalkboard and start bringing out the math, right? And it's like most people don't understand them. And we're not physicists. We don't understand what you're talking about. So it's like you're not talking the same language as us. So pretend we're all, talk the language that we're speaking so we can understand, so we can like show us the proof, the video proof or the audio proof from a distance that will shut people up once and for all. Because listen, that's all we really need if you really think about it. This is why I also am frustrated like you, Ben, at the official narratives of things, because it shouldn't be a question. This shouldn't be a debate, right? The fact that we're actually having a talk about flat Earth is ridiculous, because if you can actually prove it, go to space, take a damn picture like you say you can, and bring it down back. Like how so hard is that? You should be able to do that like this, right?
Can I have the sun go across the screen again one more time?
Go ahead.
Okay.
So what's your purpose in this, DBS? What are you trying
to? Hot sun.
But they believe the Earth is round.
No, hot sun. No, I'm just fucking around. I don't know.
So to me, I mean, there's the two things that are just weird. Okay, the biggest thing that for me that makes me wonder about what the hell we're sitting on, what we're living on. I mean, okay, so they say there's all this spinning. Like someone did a CG illustration of what's happening with the solar system, and it's literally going like this, like the entire solar system, everything's spinning around, and then it's just like the Earth is a fucking comet, and it's just like, so like all of us are just going. We're constantly like moving in this like thousands of miles per hour through space, like constantly, while we sit here in our own mundane, boring lives, like. Apparently are and a lot of people believe that this is something to make us believe like we're insignificant, etc., making us care about religion less, etc., care about God less, etc. Anyway, the big kicker for me was simply the fact that tons of people have done this study, and this study has been done a million times. People, the curvature of the Earth there should be evidence of that. When people do it's like people, you can see a lighthouse, ships can see a lighthouse from like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles away, and they should not be able to, in accordance with the global ideology, the possibilities of an actual curve happening. That's just been my experience with it. It's been really weird to see that, but you shouldn't be able to see a lighthouse from hundreds of miles away.
Here's a wacky explanation. What if we're like in a fish tank, but no water, but we're in a terrarium, whatever,
terrarium?
Well-built one where we have the ecosystem and all that, and we're in a thing like in Thor Ragnarok where you run and you're on the other side, like come out, like you can't.
That's actually a theory that people believe that the Earth is actually based on Norse mythology, like that exact same sort of tree design.
We're stuck in a loop.
Well, like just the planes. Like Earth is a plane. This is a plane of existence. This is a plane. You know what I mean? Like this is like there's nothing outside. There's nothing outside the Earth realm. That this is just a plane of existence. In the same way, there's nothing outside. Supposedly, like wherever Thor's from, I forgot where Thor's from, but then like just a different plane.
Yeah, like we're trapped in that room where you run and you're like come out the other side, but with tons of layers, like physics. You shoot someone, they die. You spit and some stuff come out. It's just like layered and layered and layered. The reality.
It's just that scientists know things until they don't. You know what I mean? Like Aristotle knew that, how many things were written because Aristotle was like a genius, but then Aristotle was proven wrong on almost everything he ever said. It's just because he was going by the time when he's proven wrong. He was the scientific, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like science has to be proven wrong. But the thing is, if no one challenges science, you can't. And that's why, and you can't challenge them because they become dogmatic because they're like, well, it's got to be, if you won't even look into a question that people, my whole thing is if with anything, whether it's ghosts, UFOs, Bigfoot, flat Earth, the moon landing, anything, if there's enough people that say we need a little more proof, I don't care how long we've believed this. Actually, the longer we've believed this, I think we should start asking for more proof because you know what I mean. We should challenge all theories all the time. Make people work for your money, like stop, you know what I mean? And then we can make intellectual with some agreement on what the hell's going on. But most scientists are like, no, we've proven that already. We don't have to look into that.
Right. So just people just accept it without having to look into proof. And for me personally, also, if you look at the fake NASA videos, holy cow, man. What does it say? Put there.
The
heliocentric. Heliocentric.
Yeah, big hat. You're using your words are too big for me.
What is heliocentric? What does that mean?
Google.
I want to say that it's got to be.
Let us look it up on the Google list.
Every other theory also has plot holes. So my final conclusion has strawberry fields. Nothing is real. Blow your boat down the stream. Life is a dream.
I think he's talking about heliocentrism. Heliocentrism is an astronomical model in which the Earth and planets revolve around the sun at the center of the solar system. Yeah, can you pull? What did Black Hat say? Can exist, but every other theory also has plot holes. Exactly, it's so true. I love that, dude. I love what you're saying there, Black Hat. I agree with you completely.
Black Hat cinephile.
Yeah, it's very true. It's just like because that's what they assume. I mean, it all came to light when I saw this video. And forgive me, I can't remember the name of the damn video, but there's a guy who I follow, and he made a CGI model of our solar system. What's happening with it, and it just looks like it's like this. Like that's what's happening with our solar system right now. It's ridiculous. But NASA is fake. If you look at any of the fake NASA videos, it's insane how much fake footage they have out there, and we pay them like $69 million a day. It's insane. Or 60 million. We pay them out from our tax dollars from the U.S. $60 million a day to NASA, and it's just all bullshit. Like their videos that they make. Oh yeah, here we are on the.
Okay. Can you highlight Black Hat cinephile? The heliocentric. Am I saying it right? No, the last one.
Heliocentric.
There you go. Am I saying it right? Heliocentric. Nice.
I think that's what he meant to type, which was heliocentric. That's what comes up every time I.
So you guys don't believe in the UFOs because you believe that all that is fake because everything is fake, right?
I think NASA's full of shit. And I think that I've been swearing.
NASA's not saying that there's UFOs, right? NASA's denying UFOs. My point is like, it's the average person that's seeing it. It's not NASA. NASA's in denial of it. So if you would actually believe anything, you should believe that there are UFOs because NASA denies their existence, and you don't believe in NASA. I mean, obviously it's kind of flawed logic, but I mean, like, you know. I think people who have seen real things that you actually take and we're talking going back Dude, there was like I think Christopher Columbus even talked about it in his journal, seeing a shield or something come out of the ocean or something. Like it's been said the same.
A shield?
Yeah, it was. I'm pretty sure it was Christopher Columbus. I might be wrong, but I know it's someone from antiquity had written. I saw this on Ancient Alien, so where a shield came out of the ocean, and they wrote it down saying that something like a shield, like that's what they would think of it at the time. They wouldn't think flying saucer. It makes sense that they would
I see what you're saying, but it looked like it. I see. Interesting.
So like that even makes more proof that they'd see something, because they would attribute it to something that's closer to them. And so it's like, what is that? We don't know. We don't know what it is. I mean, is it intergalactic, or is it who knows? Time travelers? Is it? It's something, right? We can't say for sure, but it's something.
I think that if Bigfoot exists, he's an alien.
Can you say heliocentric in Yoda voice?
Heliocentric?
Luke must learn the way of the heliocentric.
Yes, heliocentric. You seek heliocentric. Yes.
But yeah, no, it's all, again, it's funny because we can sit here and talk until the moon turns to cheese, and we'll never know the truth about any of it. It's just sort of, this is the fun of it, and that's also the great part of it.
I think the Predator from Predator and Alien is an evolved Sasquatch.
Well, I will say that there is something. I know that we talked about Predator
have another drink, Ben.
Predator. You know that Predator versus Alien movie? There was a lot of, like, I think they took a lot of that story from actual. I think Zachariah Sitchin.
What story?
The Alien versus Predator, like the whole alien living here and then humans are their slaves and shit like that.
Yeah,
they took that from actual. I think from certain myths.
Predators are no match for Jedi. I'm gonna go out and say that. I say Predators are no match for Jedi.
I agree with you there.
Padawans, yeah, they'll.
What if a Predator is a Jedi? Then what do you got? Then you're screwed. Because you can't discount the Predator. If Predator lives in a world where there's Jedi, then I think a Predator is smart enough to come down, monitor, look and see how, like, what's going on. They notice that there's Jedi, and they'll probably learn the ways of the Force, and then screw up.
Shaney, can you share my screen, man?
Sure, bud.
There's my quarter, my Earth quarter on top.
It's right there.
Yeah. How come? And just the Earth is flat, not the sun? Everything, I don't know.
I agree with you, DBS. I do
The
think
sun should be flat, the Earth should be flat, the moon should be flat, Mars should be flat.
we can't assume that one body of
Pluto
is one thing, the rest of the bodies are another thing. It just seems weird. I mean, I don't know. And I'm not going by what they're saying. It just seems logical to me too. And also the theories that I've read where they talk about how the sun does revolve around the Earth. It apparently revolves like a record needle.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like that's sort of how the sun is supposedly revolves around the Earth, according to a lot of the flat Earth models.
That's well in accordance with that photo that was there. Yeah.
Which doesn't make sense, because according to if that's the truth, which let's say it is, then look at how the wider end of the sun going around, the days would be longer. It would take way longer for the sun to go around. So on the edge of that is Australia. So Australia would have a much longer, and it would always be that way. It would have a much longer winter, and it would be much colder by that definition. And Canada would be the hot country, because Canada.
Ben could animate that, a flat Earth spinning around the sun.
Okay, and then what are we adding? What am I adding to that?
Like spin it like a record, like Earth, but like to rotate around the sun.
I think I could do that.
Put the flat Earth
like a record player, like an old school record player.
Yeah, but the Earth, flat Earth.
I could do that. Yeah. But then I would offend probably all my flat Earth friends. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I don't have any flat Earth friends. But can you guys see this?
NASA. What does it say? What? Okay, I see.
So these are exposed spacewalks.
Uh-huh.
This is going to be, we're going to see something fake here in a second.
Let's see if I notice it. I better push the blood through my brain and catch it.
I'm going to try to pause it on the.
What are we supposed to be seeing?
Something fake.
Oh. Well, did you see that they caught?
Look in the reflection. I think you see it in his reflection.
Uh-huh.
In the reflection on the right side.
I see a toilet.
Yeah. Yeah.
What
Is that what that is?
I don't see what you're looking at.
Okay. Well, let's just keep going for a second. Let me see if there's something exposed.
Oh,
There's
the
something-
toilet in the back, right here. Is that it?
Sink.
In the mirror's reflection?
Yeah.
Is that a toilet? They're saying that's a toilet. What are they saying?
Well, I don't know if that's it, but keep an eye on the reflection. See what.
I'm not sure. That looks like a camera to me. Looks like they're shooting the camera. Is there no audio with this, or is it just like?
There is audio. I just didn't share the audio too. I just didn't think it was necessary. But I think we're going to see something here in a second.
This looks like the Last Jedi.
I mean, this would be amazing if I would love to do a spacewalk. That'd be incredible to do.
After this clip, highlight Black Hat Cinephile. Said he made a 3D animation, 3D model.
It's so weird. There's so many anomalies like that, like he's saying, like that should or shouldn't exist based on like science as we know it, right? That's sort of well, there's the Earth. Well, we're seeing the Earth from the outside, so there's that. I don't know what we're supposed to see. What is the title of this?
Exposed scenes from spacewalk.
My conclusion is that we live on mindfuck Earth. Constantly being thrown images and crap, and you don't know what to believe. Like,
I agree. Yeah,
that's 100% true. We'll never know the truth about anything, and then it's like we can never believe any. And now it's even worse. Now you can't even, like, so much fakery is going on that it's like it's so hard to know what is to decipher the fake from the real.
I mean, I could believe my paycheck. The amount that they pay me, like, oh damn. Reality hits you in the face. Like, oh.
If you guys want to see some crazy conspiracy theory stuff, watch this guy's channel, Stranger Than Fiction. He exposes some serious stuff. So this, I know for a fact, has some hoax stuff that you're going to see.
Well, I've seen a lot of stuff, especially about the moon landing, that hoax stuff.
This isn't moon landing stuff. This is other stuff.
Oh, like
there's moon landing. There's moon landing stuff on here, but there's also.
Did you know that this is one that really gets me? They actually proved that there's water crystals out in space. That they have actually found water like vapor on the outside of the space.
Isn't that fake?
Well, from what I've heard, haven't heard anyone disprove it or call it fake. But it just seems like, how the heck is that possible? How is there water in space? That's impossible. You can't.
Yeah, I think that's fake. To me, that's fake.
Well, that's the thing. Like, that's again another excuse of, like, maybe they're faked, and then they're just saying that it's we've made it.
I see what you're saying.
How the hell is water in space?
Can you share my screen again? I'm sorry, dude. I really want to. I shared audio, so hopefully you guys should get audio from this.
Not succeeding. A tremendous plan.
I hear it.
So to guarantee,
I can't hear any goddamn
success,
audio. This is really pissing me off.
the
That you guys
obvious thing
can
to
and
do?
I can't.
You recreate it. You stage it. So you've got it to release in case something goes wrong.
All right.
And then they got to the point, obviously, where they said, "Well, why take a chance at all? Let's just go."
So this
what
is
we've got in the
someone
can."
finding. Okay,
That's
so
my
this is
guess,
just,
anyhow.
I mean, the rover, they could bear that. He just goes over the stuff where the rover that was supposed to land on the moon couldn't even land. Like they couldn't even do anything with it. The thing couldn't, like, no one would ever be able to have survived it, even just fucking landing on the thing, because they couldn't even land it in Earth's atmosphere at all. And then here's our
Who's
here's
orange
the place
Hummers
where
okay, and I finally get underneath this
this
cloud
is where
cover here, and a
they
few images
used to film. This is the
pop
place where they film
up.
Mars.
Oh, images. What are they? Oh, this is what you got.
Found one of
Which
Mars
I'm sure that looks
rovers
familiar
just
to you,
on
right?
Google
Looks
Images.
just
Wasn't
like
that on Baffin? Wasn't that
the pictures they
Baffin?
give us of Mars.
Island?
So I'm just kind of creeping around here.
I think you're right. Yeah,
Definitely noticing the same kind of undulation changes and same kind of rock, same kind of
this
dirt.
is supposed to be
The only
Mars.
thing that's missing is
but
that
it's
nice little
actually
red
just
tint
Earth.
that they pay somebody $150,000 a year to put on there. So I said, I wonder what they're doing out here. What is all this?
You guys
equipment
hearing him?
for?
Can you hear what he says?
I'm sure it can't be
I
NASA,
can't hear
right?
him at all. But I've seen this video before.
Whose orange
That's what we
Hummer is
count.
this? Okay, that looks like a NASA symbol. Cameras set up.
Yeah, it's
Tents.
pretty
He's saying
insane.
camera set up,
ATVs,
tent set
food.
up.
Yeah, this
Been
is
there a
just where
while.
they film
It's not a one-day
Mars.
trip.
This is where they make Mars, like,
their
make
antenna
us
set
believe
up
that we're on, that we
out in the
we
middle of
have
nowhere
something
in
actually on
Greenland.
Mars.
Black Hat
Things
Dinosaur
seem
says,
to
I once
finally
saw
be
a
coming
NASA
together
believer
with the
thing
moon
video
landing. We
where
were
he
there on the
tried to
surface of
recreate
another planet.
combustion
You could see
thrust
it on
in an
TV.
airtight
Well,
vacuum
first
chamber.
it was projected
and
onto
he
a silver
couldn't get
screen, and then
work.
the TV cameras were allowed to film off the silver screen,
I
because
believe that.
obviously you wouldn't want the real footage. I mean, if you want to go back and look at the real footage of the initial moon landing, you can't, because it's been taped over by NASA, and no one was fired, no one was punished.
He's
Of
been
course,
taped
they
over
want to get
by
rid of the
NASA.
evidence. Now, at this stage, a band of
They
Apollo
taped
faithful
over
will
with
be
their
howling in
video.
protest. We did go to the
Crikey.
Hard to
moon.
watch it, and instead they
Then
have.
why did nothing
The
come of
accent
it?
the guy
Why
has.
have we not been back in 40
Oh, how
years?
did we do that? I
The
don't know.
Apollo faithful will say, oh, it's budget priorities. We've been there.
That's what gets me the most.
Economic
Why not?
that just doesn't hold water. That's a load of rubbish. We haven't been back to the moon because we never went there in the first place.
So this one here said roving the Arctic. So what does that make any sense?
And we pay these
Up here?
guys $60 million
find
a
anything?
day.
Again, same kind of mountains. That looks like the same kind of water I've seen before that I thought was water on Mars. Who
Where
knows?
did it come from? You have to get the money from something.
Zoom in. What's that? Oh,
From our taxes. Just our
Like,
tax
funny.
dollars. Would just go
so
right
I'll
to
keep kind of going through here.
this.
And see
I mean, this is just.
what the.
that's
It's
the-
Wally.
Yeah, it's Wally. Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
Wally.
Man, I got tired of.
I
I
think
was
I found
watching that movie and he just kept saying, "Wow."
1,000 miles north of me.
Okay, so this is where it gets
Not
really nasty,
quite
guys,
the
right
dis-
here.
Propellant paddles, so he was bouncing the glob of water between the two paddles, and one of the community noticed that his eyes were not following the frickin' water. They were jumping into places that he had it for a little bit, and then after that his eyes were completely out of sync with the water droplet.
But when those guys were playing ping pong back and forth with the water, you'll notice that the girl always is looking above the camera. And the reason why is because they're looking at the CGI feed. You know, they need to see where the item is that they're playing ping pong with, because it's not right in front of them. So once I saw Helmick's video, I really, it opened my eyes even more to, okay, because every time I've watched those astronauts, they appear to be watching a monitor above the camera, which, okay, I could see doing that. But on the other hand, if you're just up in space giving an interview or playing ping pong or whatever you're doing, then you would have no reason to look at a monitor. It doesn't matter. The camera's on you, you know that, so it doesn't matter what you look like. You shouldn't care about that, but they're always very concerned with that monitor.
That his
Well, that
eyes
tells you why. It's when they're using
water. Like it seems like to drift away, and you go look at a monitor or look at
Check out
different.
some of these other pictures. I saw another one over here.
Water. Like, why wouldn't he follow the water if he's trying to constantly?
This one says drill.
Anyway,
hill.
this whole sequence is great. We don't have to spend forever on it, but there's just the ones that are the most laughable are the space station ones. Like this is what this is supposed to be weightless. She's supposed to be weightless.
Her hair. I know this is zero gravity and hair is supposed to stick out and go all over the place, but her hair doesn't really flop around naturally. It's always sticking out.
Like
kind
that's
of
totally
rigidly.
fake.
Maybe they permed it in that position.
She's
but
Her
underwater.
tag is flopping around.
they're
So there's
hanging
that,
her
right?
upside down.
We got to look at it all.
Takes
Why
her
is
head
the
from
tag?
side to side slightly? You can
Maybe her
see
hair isn't, but her tag
Yeah,
definitely is
bring back
flopping around.
to
You know what I mean? Look at it; it's
with
just
respect
flopping
to her
around.
head.
Yeah, I see that.
It should flop all
I mean,
over.
you could be in zero gravity without having to be.
Seeing she has a
There's a lot of zero gravity
hair
ships.
flows in the air as it would because the hair is moving.
No, they're pointing out the hair though.
So it's
and
going
how
to
the
flow
hair,
as you bounce
hair and
around.
Evidence doesn't exist in a bubble. There's
Station,
the other things
this
around.
does not happen. with
Some
what they do.
they should have. Didn't the Jackass
Like
guys go
down,
like that
all kinds of
on this
things
plane and did that? Like
bounce
did
from
the same
here
thing,
to
the
there.
weight
Structures on the
And there's
moon
Superman.
conspiracy. Any
The
of
guys
you?
on the guys in Jackass should do this, but piss. See where the piss goes.
What do you guys think of what Cole Haan just said?
In this scene,
What
Chris
about the structures
Hadfield
on the
bends
moon?
down in order to
See, look, check it out. He's got a
and you
harness
can see on
for
the
green
back of the
screen.
shirt
This
a
is
couple
the
of
best
upticks
part
on
right here.
either side,
He's got
where
a
you would
harness.
expect wires to come in on either side of that harness in order to support it.
See, that's
Of course,
blatant fake,
computer graphics out
fake.
the supporting wires. You can't
Right
actually
there.
see them.
It's a Chinese spacewalk. A bubble rises in the pool.
Like I
Complete fraud.
Water bubble. This is
I mean,
underwater.
I've seen those images of the fake of
Here, the helmet gets hit.
What's this?
on the
This is where you
International
get to
Space
see. You're
Station.
going to see the air bubble
And a
quickly
bubble
rises.
rises into the pool.
And there's a blatant part where you see the pool.
And it
There's
takes
a
an
part
odd
right here. You're
trajectory
going to
'cause
see
it's
the
in a
you're
water
going to see the
pool.
inside of the pool here in
We
a
have
second.
problem. Space is broken. Sorry, U.S. government. I have to show them the bubble.
When the air bubble passes through,
There's
they
the
can say it's a
bubble in the
UFO.
water.
Like, oh, a UFO went by.
Yeah.
Yep. Doesn't even go in a straight line. It's in the water pool.
There's a moment where they show the
very
pool.
odd
You actually see the
trajectory.
pool.
Because the
You
water
see them
is
underwater.
actually moving around. It's not still.
NASA's fake.
It's It's kind of crazy though. Like
Now check this video out. The whole
Okay,
video
these
is
all
about a
these
minute
space
long.
station
This is
videos are
45
so
seconds before is the
hilarious.
maximum for full motion mode. It may be more like a minute that they can do this full motion zero gravity.
Anyway, we could go on forever on this. I just
Because
wanted
then
you
the
guys to see this.
airplane
Check out this whole
its
video. It's an
parabolic
amazing
trajectory.
video,
It has
and
to dip
it's stranger than fiction. So anyway,
well, I mean, like I said, Cole Haan said, "What do you guys think of the structures on the moon conspiracy? Any of you see that?"
let's
Yeah,
look it up.
I've seen a lot of those structures on the moon videos, but like you said, it falls down to the fact of you have to believe them in the first place to believe that, and that's the thing is like I don't know what to believe.
Yeah, yeah. They say that like the moon is hollow, and it's an actual like a
space station
rest stop for aliens on their way here, where they could pull over and take a leak and then jump back in and continue on, or rest their eyes or they're tired or whatever.
Shani, can you share my screen?
Sure, man. Both could be true, right? I mean, they could have gone to the moon and still faked it, right? That's the thing. Like, there's a reason maybe they don't go to space often. Maybe because they don't want, like you said, maybe they don't have any interest in going to space. Maybe because they aren't unwelcome in space, so they fake a lot of shit so that they could get, like you said, steal people's tax money. We just throw up some good special effects. People eat it up, and then here it gives us more tax money. But that doesn't mean that
either you give the money to the church or you give it to NASA.
Well, yeah, but at least church seems to help people. I don't know what NASA does.
NASA lies to you and takes your money. They're
NASA fuels,
disgusting. They're disgusting.
NASA fuels our imagination.
Well, no, George Lucas fuels our imagination. I've been more inspired by George Lucas, who was inspired by the moon. So so we'll give it that.
George Pukas.
Hey,
yeah, sorry, I take that back. No.
That's interesting, right there. You guys see that? I don't know. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
La Luna.
Both could exist. There's no reason why we couldn't like they can't fake stuff and still have gone, right? I mean, one doesn't disprove the other just because of the fact, like you said, there's been people who've theorized, like I said, Richard C. Hoagland has said they went to the moon, The aliens were there, said, "Beat it. You're not welcome here. We got alien bases. Scram. We don't want to see you back." You know, and then they never decided to go back again. Again, I'm just saying what
Richard C. Hogan.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think if I know who that is. I don't know.
Forgot it what his titles, but he's been adamant about that stuff. That they went to the moon, but they were told to beat it and never come back. And so they never did. And again, I don't know, and that's why they faked a bunch of stuff because they didn't want people to know. I don't know. There's this interesting bit of footage. Look up EV1. Look up EV1 on YouTube.
Yeah, I could believe that they say don't come back over here because if so, NASA would have sent convoys to the moon to start building a base and start building stuff.
Just mining, and it's like just think.
Yeah,
about
and like building telescopes too, and building stuff, sensors that they could catch, weird sounds or video, whatever, of deep space. They never did that.
I mean, again, like we said, we can sit here and debate all this stuff. Is it EV? Is it EV1 or EB1? Hang on, let me check.
Wow, the Mandalorian still isn't available, man. I thought it would be available by now.
Why do werewolves howl at a full moon?
I'm trying to remember the name of it. I know there's like a secret NASA footage that I've seen about that they've actually had like a real alien on board. If it's EV1, I can't remember now. EV.
So it's like photos of a UFO or
actual footage.
UFO footage.
Crit. This was in the 60s or something, like right after the moonlight, or 70s. Secret. Alien.
Thanks everybody for hanging out. Still, we have a few people left.
Yeah,
Cole Hond.
If you guys ever, I gotta remember the name of this thing. It's not EB1. It's shit. Maybe somebody that can't remember.
So were those the right photos, Cole Hond? If you're still there, if you're still in the chat, were those photos? Did you? Yeah, it's very curious. I'm curious to see if those were structures that we pulled up were even the right ones.
Oh man, I'm like completely. Do I even remember what I'm talking about now?
Well, you're tired. You haven't had very much sleep, man.
No, I know. 48 hours, man. 48 hours.
And then after that, somebody could try to pull up a video or images of the structures on the moon. Someone in the chat is saying if they could pull that up.
Of what is it?
The conspiracy about the structures that are on the moon.
You guys seeing what I'm putting on there?
Hang on.
It's a UFO, supposedly from a space station. It's a video.
Where is it? Hold on.
That orange thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen. Who knows, man? Jesus. It's so. I mean, I've seen something, so I know I saw.
That doesn't look real. That looks like something on the glass. I don't know. Well, wait a second. That does look pretty. I don't know what the hell that is. That looks pretty sweet, though.
That's one giant leap for NASA's wallet.
and that's the other big thing is that the whole thing. It's like it's like the broadcasting. It's like, okay, so you in 1969 you're able to broadcast from the moon to Earth. Like I could barely broadcast from, like television frequencies from any type of video and audio transmission. It's like you had to. It's like there's no way they could have enough power to power that kind of type of signal.
Remember the Simpsons episode when he went to space and they were like, what are all these instruments? How come we can't help them? What do all these instruments do? And he said, well, most of these instruments are just to test out ratings, or just that's like those.
All right. Well, anyway. Footage.
Apology accepted. Black Hat Cinephile.
What did he say? I don't know. I can't find it, but it's like a secret. I can't remember what it is. I'm exhausted.
Well, get some sleep. We'll do a Mandalorian talk when Mandalorian comes out.
Well, I mean, aren't you guys planning on doing that tonight? I thought that
I'm planning on doing it for sure.
Well, how about you? DBS? You planning on doing it?
Am I planning on spoiling it and getting everybody pissed off at me on Twitter?
Well, just don't. Well, the Twitter post, I can understand why people are getting pissed, and you guys do your thing. I'm just saying, because you're putting images that literally people can't control. Like they can't control you because they probably follow you or something. Like if they're just scrolling through Twitter, they can't control that. But for YouTube, you can control it. Like YouTube, you don't have to click on everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I have over 100. I don't know, no, but I received like tons of likes, and I got only 2 people that were pissed off with the images. Just 2 out of a bunch.
Well, it's like, I mean, you can look at it both ways. I had several people bitch at me on Facebook for putting spoilers in thumbnails, and because I put a spoiler in a thumbnail on my Facebook ads that I was doing I was doing a review on a Netflix show, and it had just barely come out, and I was like literally like the day after, and so some people hadn't seen it, and they got pissed. They're like spoilers, and so like I just stopped doing it. I mean, I get it. It's like if you're gonna be on Twitter, it's like you better watch the show. It's like, but it's one of those things where it's hard to debate because someone
had a point. Someone also had a point that everyone in Europe hasn't gotten it yet. So it's actually it's not
even available to them.
Yeah, they're not even available. So we're not allowed to spoil it until they see it too. Like I'm not like making it, but you know what I mean. Like everyone could make a complaint and say, "Well, I didn't see it."
You know what? And that video, the live we did about it, it says I have 689 views. It's like crazy.
Well, it's because all those people watched the show. They've watched the show.
But they watched my live, and I've never had that many ever watch.
I think he had the right to get annoyed, but I think he got too annoyed. Like he was really angry. Like it's like he wouldn't drop it either; just kept replaying. Like
Shellback told him, "Stop being so salty."
Don't be too salty. Yeah.
I mean, I understand like his, but you say your piece, but he was just really angry. I'm like, dude, like, you'll see it eventually, and it will be spoiled. Like,
disclaimer: I'm an agent of chaos.
That's right.
So all the people in Europe, Europe just hasn't even gotten it at all yet.
No, they haven't gotten it, so that's why.
That's actually really lame.
Yeah, and that's why they're saying that they're going to get it later. Not even like in a month or so. I don't even think it comes out until I think December or something.
That's really lame of them to do. Like, yeah. I wonder. I'm sure it probably has to do with copyright laws.
Pretty sure.
It's a brand new show. Like what copyright laws would they be violating? It's like all completely brand new characters. Nothing of it is from older Star Wars. Like what are they violating? I don't understand what they'd be violating. I'm curious as to see what the law. Anyway, sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
This is fun. I'm like with this ran a little longer even than I expected.
Yeah. Totally.
Let me address one thing with Black Cat Cinephile. He said he's sorry for running off Chronos Chiron. I don't think.
Oh
he,
yeah, no.
I think that guy just got tired. He's he was in the chat for a long time. I think he just got bored.
Oh, because he wanted. Sorry, yeah, it's my bad. Because Mary kind of ran on for a long time, and I didn't know how to say we need a and I know that Chirion Kronos he asked me specifically to post to say his MUFON experience, and I throw it all.
That's frustrating. I'm sorry.
Oh damn. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, you mentioned that on Twitter earlier. He had an experience, right? Yeah.
And then and I kind of everything just sort of happened, and then like I said, I just got at some point it was just and then even Kermit took off too.
Oh yeah, Mary was like, "Hey, dude, your feet, you got feedback," and Kermit was like, "Bye," and he left.
Yeah, so I mean, things didn't go exactly as I planned, but whatever. It's still a work in progress. We figured it all out.
Can't tell Mary anything because she's real popular on YouTube. But why?
Well, it's not that
we don't want to tell her anything. She's telling her story. She knows how to tell it, and it's interesting and stuff. So.
No, she told her story, and I guess it was my fault because I actually sort of kept asking her more questions. I didn't.
Kermit, the log just jumped in.
Hey, hail Kermit. Sorry, man.
Hail Kermit's log.
Michael, hail to Kermit's giant baseball bat. Michael Stark says, did you see the video by some guy who offered different universe model today? I cannot find it, but it was a smart. So interesting, dude. You downloaded it, Michael? I want to see that. Put it on your channel. Tell us about it because I want to see dude. I want to know what that is. Anyway, I'll look it up. I'll look it up later.
Yeah, Kermit has a huge log. He could actually karate chop a table with it.
I thought he had multiple logs.
He's got a captain's log.
It's a captain's log.
Huge log you have.
All right, guys. So
I'm so glad you said that because now I need to see Yoda and Kermit the Frog.
And Yoda's so short, it would be at eye level with it. Well, it would tap him in the top of his head, the log. You could lay it on top of Yoda's head. Somebody animate that real quick before they steal the idea. Kermit's log laying on top of Yoda's head.
Kermit's log laying on top of Yoda's. I want to see Kermit and Yoda do a stream. I'll do a stream with you two guys doing Kermit and Yoda if you want. I think that'd be fun.
Okay, so you'll do Yoda, he'll do Kermit, and I'll do Ray Romano, and we'll have this hey everybody, what's going on?
What do you want me to do? You want me to? I could just say it's not a tumor.
No, you do your. I thought you were going to do your Yoda.
Yoda? Yes, I got to work on it more.
The most annoying stream ever. Just 3 throaty voices. Anyway, is Ben? Are you frozen again? Ben's frozen.
Ben froze.
Either that or he just
frozen. Ben is yes. I have to do Yoda slow. I can't do Yoda fast.
Well, yeah. Anyway, guys, I think we're gonna head out. What do you think? Let's head out.
I think you've been. It says here you've been on 2 hours and 36 minutes. I think. Yeah, that's
almost long enough. All right, guys. So, yeah, I think we're gonna probably. I guess that's what people just want to talk about. We just want to talk about the moon.
Kermit's log is so big that Yoda can't even lift it with the force.
Judging by his size, do you?
Struggling to lift. That's how big Kermit's log is. That Yoda can't even force lift it. The log would have fell on Obi-Wan and Anakin. It would have crushed them. Yoda wouldn't have been able to stop it from crushing them. Somebody animate that right away before someone steals that idea.
Somebody animate that. You're the one who's going to animate it.
I mean, I can make a meme that's frozen, still, but animate it, actually make it, move oh man, that's beyond my what's the programs I have, the apps I have.
Kermit's log, start date 28.5, running off to the nearest decimal point. We've traveled to Miss Piggy's and other regions to boldly go where no condom has gone before.
Yeah, maybe I have Patrick Stewart, his voice.
Let's go. Engage. Number 1. I'm going for the number 2. Engage. Anyway, guys, so thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate you guys sticking by us. Ben was kidnapped by aliens and beamed up on the ship. Kermit, I think he was also beamed up, but he found his way back, so that's good. And we're the last 2 survivors, as per usual, me and DBS. So check out DBS's channel, guys. For you guys who are there, he does a lot of lightsaber memes and some cool. And some live streaming, and me, I'm just a goofball with some costumes, and I make people laugh. That's what I do.
Out of all of us, out of the 3 of us, Shaney is the most entertaining of us all.
Although not tonight, man. I haven't slept for like 48 hours, so I'm just sort of half brain dead, to be honest. I didn't even know how I was going to get through this. I was just like, even when Mary was talking, I was trying really, really hard. All right, guys. So thank you till next time. We'll see. Let's see what happens on next Thursday.
Good night.
Good night.